I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday morning or Wednesday night if you're hanging out with us. Hope you all had a good night. Gonzaga did not have a good night, which was the only bet I placed. They got smoked from the opening tip. So shout out Gonzaga for ruining my undefeated college basketball season. I was going for 4-0. My first loss. Yeah, Jimmy and Troy are here, just like the last few Wednesdays. Obviously, big football weekend. 3 games on tomorrow, which we're talking about all 3 of those. And then we got 2 more lined up for Sunday. Then we'll do some college basketball and then some college football too. So this will be a marathon race here. How was your guys' weekend?
It was okay. I mean, Troy had another monster week, 14-6 plus 7.33 units. This guy is on fire. As are you, Kyle. Both you guys running hot. I struggled, man. Some mistakes. 12-12. Down 1.24 units. Made some mistakes. You know, you were right about the Saints mistake. There was a litany of mistakes. Now, these days, you know, I have a terrible week and it's 12-12 down 1.24 units. So the optics have sort of changed on the bad weeks, but I struggled and Troy succeeded again.
Well, yeah, Troy, you had a good one. I had a good one as well.
I just want to go 1-0. I don't even like talking about my weeks.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear that. You had mentioned before we went live that you're big on this first game.
Yeah, I'm big on this first game, and I feel like I'm against a lot of people in this game. You know, after I get done capping the games, I'm walking the dog, I'm listening to the talking heads, I'm listening to the industry talk about these games, be it the entertainment, the capping industry, and I hear a lot of people on the Lions. But the more and more I started to dig into this game, the more I like the spot. I think, first of all, the psychology of the spot's good and favorable for the Packers. You got the Lions coming off a game where they had to force OT, a heroic comeback, to get the win in overtime. 2 days later, you're in meetings. Not even a full 2 days later. You know, a little over 24 hours later, you're in meetings, game planning for the following week. It's like, how locked in can you possibly be? And you might say, oh, yeah, I'm locked in, but at some, like, there's definitely a level of demarcation there. And the Packers are on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. By the middle of the third quarter, that game was over. Everybody on that team had moved on. You saw the play calling. The Vikings had 0 red zone drives and only 2 drives that went to scoring range. Both of them resulted in field goals from 59 and 52 yards, which were really just desperation heaves to put points up on the board. So I think there's a psychological edge that favors the Packers. But I also believe that, you know, I watched that Giants game back and I was asking myself, where is the pass rush? They pressured Winston on 44% of his dropbacks. That looks good on face value, but they had to blitz 32% of the time to do that. That's about 50% more than their average blitz rate. And they were forced to blitz because Jameis Winston was very comfortable if they weren't blitzing. You know, I know the Lions are getting a few defensive guys back, mainly Terrion Arnold, because, you know, they need help, reinforcements in that secondary. But, you know, with a young player like Terrion Arnold, we have hope for him. We've talked about him multiple times. Jimmy and I have on Bankroll Blitz. He just hasn't, you know, put the tape together to make me believe his PFF grade is complete trash. And I don't think he adds that much value to this secondary that's been struggling. But the biggest reason, and probably my favorite, one of the elements that I look at and I put a lot of weight in that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is Goff without an elite tight end. I mean, Laporta and Hockenson were his tight ends since he's been in Detroit, and he's always had those guys. They were never hurt with Jared Goff up until 3 weeks ago when Laporta went down. And what have we seen against the Giants? You know, a bottom 5 defense. They had a 46% success rate. They went 2 for 4 in the red zone. Against Philly, which is a top 5 defense, they had a 31% success rate. You know, only 1 red zone attempt. They went 0 for 1. And when you lose a guy like Sam Laporta, you don't only lose a pass, like a quality pass catching tight end. You lose all the efficiency that came with the 12 personnel that we've seen so frequently with Detroit over the past few years. Teams that run the ball, they want to use 12 personnel. Not only is Laporta out, but their backup Brock Wright is out. So we're going to see nothing but, 11 personnel. And I just think that's going to spell a disaster because, Ben Johnson not being there, you could tell that's weighing on this team. I look at, these teams have a lot of similar where they've played the same team and you could tell who the quality team is. I know that people want to shit on the Vikings performance and what the Packers were able to do this past week, but that same Vikings team with JJ McCarthy marched into Ford Field and beat the Lions on their home turf. I like the Packers in this spot, and I'm on them a few different ways. I bet the Packers +3. I bet the Packers on the money line, and I bet the Lions team total under 26.5.
Jim?
It's not comfortable when you are thinking about being on the other side of Troy this year. It's not a place I want to be in. And so I haven't moved on the Detroit Lions because of it. Troy's on the Packers +3. He's on the Packers money line. He's got a teaser with the Packers and the Chiefs. From the optics, both teams are playing poorly. Yes, the Packers beat up on Minnesota at home. Clearly, this is JJ's rookie year. And it's tougher, I think, to play outdoors at Lambeau than it is to play in Detroit. That's arguable. The optics from the Detroit Lions, the last 2 home games, I've cashed with the opposition team total over. It was the Giants and the Vikings. I've cashed first half over and full game over. I've cashed 6 units on overs. And so I immediately want to go back to it. But I think that there is a legitimacy to the offensive issues that the Detroit Lions are having. If I was to set this line, I would have set it at Packers, the Lions -2, Packers +2. I would have set it there. So the fact that this is becoming a stronger 3, not full -110, but now, the books that I respect the most are hanging 3s. Circa's got the Lions -3 at -105. The fact that it's a strong 3, I don't think so. I've had people tell me they're begging for Lions money. They're looking for Lions money. And I think the opposite here. I think optically the Lions have looked terrible at home. And then you get past that and you think, well, what have we seen when these 2 teams have played? We've seen the Packers go in last Thanksgiving and destroy the Lions, embarrass them publicly. Then we saw the Lions in week 1 go to Green Bay and lose badly again. So we're saying that for the 3rd time in succession, this Lions team that does have character and heart is just going to lose again to a Packers team that if you take away that 23-6 victory at home, what have they done? They barely got past the Giants in New York. They put up 7 points at home against the Eagles. They lost 16-13 at home against Carolina. So it feels like being on the other side of Troy right now is optional misery. It's misery that I don't need to have. Now, I am live streaming every game all day tomorrow for 12 hours. Am I going to set up here for the first game of the day, pop open the whiskey and not have action on this game? I mean, I've matured to the point where I don't need action. I can let go. But I want to expect the Lions to menace here and play better football. I think the total is pretty low. The Packers don't kind of give you a ton of confidence in overs. So right now, I thought by this point I would have moved on the Lions, but I'm still looking at Troy's bullishness on the Packers. It's at the top of my worksheet. And I'm hesitant to go up against it. Sports scientist Jacob on the Lions. I'm surprised on your poll that 59% of the votes have come in on the Lions.
Really? I think everyone sees Lions 3. This is the lowest line the Lions have laid in a few years at home. Well, the one thing I did want to mention that I forgot to mention in my handicap is, Goff in the passing game, he struggled without his tight end, and he's definitely struggling with the play calling right now, as you can see. But another thing I wanted to mention was we're going to see a lot of cover too. But those outside corners are playing hard or, cloud flats, which allow them to help in the run game. So when you get those runs off tackle or outside zone or sweeps that you see Gibbs break it to the outside, like that's going to be limited. And if you look at what the Packers defense has been able to do against the Lions, it's not fraudulent. They stop this rushing attack every time they see him. And I think is a large part to do with the cover 2 defense that they do play.
Look, I'm surprised. I've been only hearing Packers from my colleagues, so I'm surprised to see the 60% vote here on the Lions, 145 votes in. Maybe Kyle Kirms can give me the confidence to press the button, or tell me to shut up and just watch the game.
I'm definitely on Detroit, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, I don't even understand. Troy's, you're talking about Goff without his tight end. Man, when's the last time Jordan Love played well? He's got like a 78 passer rating in his last 4 games. He's been playing like shit. I'm not even saying I disagree with your Jared Goff criticism. I just don't understand how that same criticism isn't being thrown the other way. He hasn't.
Yeah, without Tucker Kraft too, it's very similar.
It's the same exact thing. In fact, if you go by passer rating, it's actually worse than Goff.
Because it's the defense that they're also going to be seeing.
I think that, and that's another thing. You said the Lions secondary. I think the Lions secondary has played well. I mean, if you chalk up the Giants game as a look-ahead spot, the last 4 games, nobody was throwing on them. They were allowing like 160 passing yards per game. Hold on. I have it here. 5.8 yards per pass attempt. That's against the Eagles, the Bucks, the Commanders, and Vikings are in there as well. But Baker couldn't do shit on the road in this building. The Eagles didn't do anything against this defense. I thought that the Lions secondary's been playing well, personally. The pass rush is streaky. And, I mean, that's definitely something I'm worried about, the lack of a Lions pass rush. But I don't think the Packers can run the ball in this game. They weren't able to run the ball in the opener. In fact, the opener, the Lions offense couldn't do shit. But, I mean, the Packers scored on the first 3 drives, and then they couldn't do shit either. I mean, they averaged 3.5 yards per pass attempt in the second half of that game. They went up 17-3 and didn't do much of anything after that either. So, if this number's at 2.5, that kind of means that these 2 teams are even right now. I feel like the Lions' body of work is significantly more impressive than the Packers' body of work. I also tend to slide the number a half point or so to the home team on Thursdays. Home teams on Thursdays are 34-16 in the last. I tend to think the short week slightly favors the home team, 34-16 in the last 3 years. Lions averaging 7.4 yards per carry in the last 3 games. This Packers run defense hasn't quite looked the same. I mean, they're consistently getting run on without Kenny Clark in there. Yeah, I'm on Detroit here. I bet this early. I got a -2.5, -110 on the look ahead. I think it should be 3. So it's not like I'm saying this is a huge edge. I think the number should be 3. So I thought a -2.5, -110. It looks like it might close at 3. It's not like a strong 2.5 right now.
And I don't put too much emphasis into what we saw in the Giants game.
That's what I'm saying. I don't give a shit about that game. The Packers almost lost to the same fucking team.
The attention was on Thursday, November 27th. Right. And even Glasgow coming out of retirement.
He's not playing, though.
No, he's not. He's probably not going to play next week either. It's about pumping people up. It's about getting people believing in the football team. I did not expect, though, to sit here and see 60% of people on the Lions and 32 on the Packers. I mean, the bullishness that Troy has too. I mean, we've got 3 different spots where he's backed the Packers. Makes me uncomfortable. I guess I'm going to leave the total alone. Do you both not like? I mean, the problem is when you cash in a situation for 3 units and then go right back to it and cash even easier. It's hard for me not to want the opposition team total over. I'm not going to take that because, I want the Lions, but it's not hard for me not to think that, 50 points can be scored here. The Packers rush defense ranked 17th right now. I know that's really the only clear advantage that we've seen from the Lions in these games is that Jahmyr Gibbs is just a machine. But do neither of you guys like the over?
I mean, I think theoretically the offenses should have success, but these teams are just like, they're so slow sometimes. And I could see both teams trying to run the ball and both teams kind of struggling to do so. So I don't know. I guess if gun to my head forced me to place the total, I would lean over, but it would need to be like probably 46 for me to even consider actually doing it.
And Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, there are no sites that really are telling us that the Lions are a public play, are there?
No, it's largely 50-50.
Well, I expect to gather up the conviction and be on the other side of Troy here, but I still don't have it yet. It's just not a comfortable place to be. If Troy had one unit on the Packers, it'd be a little more appealing. Shout out to Stephen Hairston, my guy, Sports Science Jacob in the house. Great to see you guys. So yes, I'm going to try to build up the conviction to bet the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think it should be 3. So I'm not like crazy about this one. When I bet the Broncos +4, I thought it was way off. I thought it should have been 2.5, 3. That one I was pretty like adamantly against you guys on. This one, like I bet the 2.5 because I think it should be 3. That's I put the Lions slightly ahead of the Packers on a neutral. So in Detroit, Kansas City, Dallas.
This is
a tough one, man.
I'll start with this here. I find this game extremely difficult. Other people are being able to find angles immediately. The first thing I wanted to do, which I think a lot of people want to do, was bet the under. When it came out at 51 and climbed up to 52.5, I was beside myself. It's the highest number. Are you kidding me? How could it possibly be this high? Oh, what? Only 2 Chiefs games have gone over this number? Do you have a fortified Cowboy defense? If this opened up at 50 and dropped to 49.5, I would be on the under. I don't look at this. I have friends who have their biggest bets of the year on this under.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know how they can do that. This is, to me, this is somebody's waiting around the corner to rob you. The bet you want the most, and they give you an incredible number, a gift. There are no gifts in this business. So I've been stuck with this number at 52.5. How could it possibly be this high? It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. It's not the style of football the Chiefs play, and with the fortification on the Dallas defense. So that's the first loop that I've been throwing. And then on the spread here, I mean, I fear Dallas at home. I fear them at home now. And that +3.5 is appealing. I'm sitting here like a moose in the headlights. I tell you what I'm not going to do, though, is I'm not going to bet this under. Even though it was my whole plan. No chance at 52.5. Why? This doesn't work like that. I do truly believe that the industry does not work like that. When they put up a number that sounds way too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And you're going to get ganked. So this game is throwing me for a loop. I'd rather just sit back and hear you guys cap it.
All right. So you want to get how many times in the last 30 years do you think the Cowboys have been underdogs on Thanksgiving? 30 years. Just curious of where your guess would be.
Wow.
5 times.
Close.
I mean,
Six.
Six
times. In the 6 times they've been underdogs on Thanksgiving. How many of those 6 did they win?
All of them.
0.
Oh.
Not a single one. They're 0-6 as underdogs on Thanksgiving. We don't see it often. In fact, the last time was 2017. And the time before.
I heard something, Kyle, that it was like the road favorites are 25-1 or something over the last 2000.
On Thanksgiving, or are you talking about Thursday?
On Thanksgiving, yeah, on Thanksgiving specifically.
Yeah, so we don't see them as underdogs often. See, I'm kind of there's 2 angles I love for this one. Here's the problem. They're conflicting. So on one angle, the Cowboys have been great against the run in the last 2 games. Certainly, as Jim mentioned, the defense is fortified. 3.14 yards per carry, 45 rushing yards per game in their last 2. Granted, against Philly and the Raiders. I trust the Cowboys' run defense. I even trust the pass rush a little bit. But Patrick Mahomes should pick this zone apart on paper. The Cowboys basically live in cover 2 and cover 3. Patrick Mahomes against cover 2 has video game numbers, 11 yards per pass attempt, over 123 pass rating. He's basically the best quarterback in the NFL against cover 2 this year. Cowboys, I believe they're 2nd or 3rd in the NFL in cover 2 frequency, so they're going to have to figure something out. They also run a lot of cover 3. He's got great numbers against cover 3. So even though Pacheco's coming back, and I really think the Cowboys can limit the Chiefs on the ground, but it should be a great matchup for Mahomes. He should be able to pick the Cowboys zone apart, march up and down the field here. Here's where it gets a little interesting. It's Patrick Mahomes on the road. And remember, we all talked about this. We actually talked about this twice for the KC-Buffalo game, and then the KC-Denver game again. Again, we talked about it. Mahomes has been terrible on the road. An 80.7 passer rating in his road games. The Chiefs have one road win all year. It was against the Russell Wilson Giants. So on one hand, it's like, oh shit, I really like this matchup for Mahomes. And on the other hand, it's like, how could I lay points with Mahomes on the road? He hasn't even won a game in 3 months on the road. So kind of conflicting there. A wrench thrown into that. This is his hometown, Tyler, Texas. It's right by here, and he's got like a mega suite in Jerry World, and all his friends and family are going to be there for people who care about that stuff. The whole Mahomes clan, his high school friend, like he's got a mega suite there. The whole Mahomes squad is going to be there, so maybe that gives him a little bit of a home environment. I don't know. I love the matchup for Mahomes. If I could see the argument, if you're fading Mahomes on the road, I personally think he's going to play really well here on Thanksgiving. I think the conditions are slightly different. This is not on the road in Mile High. This is not on the road in cold-ass Buffalo. This is Jerry World, where it's arena football, man. Like I think he's gonna play well. On the other side of the ball, I think the Cowboys just empty the tank there against the Eagles, and I can see Spagnuolo tricking Dak into a turnover. I want to be on Chiefs -3. This is the only Thanksgiving game I didn't bet, but I wanted to be on Chiefs -3 is where I wanted to be, but I don't feel very confident about it. I think 3.5 is probably right. So if I can get a 3 -110, I'd probably do it. So I can get a -115 now, so maybe I'll even do it. But yeah, Chiefs -3 is where I want to be.
I did the same thing. I pulled the trigger on Chiefs -3, -115 for a lot of the reasons you were talking about. But I also think you just kind of breezed over it. There's something to be said about the Cowboys emptying the tank. And now they're, against a divisional opponent, divisional rival. Now they're on a short week, and you got a team in a must-win spot in the Kansas City Chiefs. And I could give you a bunch of metrics, and I gave them out on Tuesday as to why Mahomes is having basically the worst season of his career, or at least since his rookie season. It kind of feels like the magic is starting to run out. That was put on full display against the Broncos when all the times he kind of scrambled and escaped the pocket, he threw a pick, or he threw a terrible pass, or he missed Travis Kelce on a wide open play. And that actually happened more so in the Colts game, who was playing cover 2, cover 3. Actually, they played a lot of quarters that day. But I will say that you were spot on, in my opinion, with the matchup. Mahomes against cover 2 is going to allow him to play with anticipation. The weakness of the Cowboys defense is in the secondary. And I feel like that's going to be huge, because where Kansas City has really struggled has been in the red zone in the past 2 weeks against Denver and against the Colts. Those teams are playing man coverage in the red zone and elite man coverage. And that we're not going to be seeing that here. We know what Mahomes has done versus Eberflus in the past, putting up over 125 passer rating. And I think that on the other side of the equation, you got the Cowboys, who are an air raid style of offense, and that's going to play into the Kansas City strength. This is a coverage unit that's very solid. Spagnuolo knows how to get those guys coordinated. They're third graded coverage unit in the NFL per PFF. And I think that's the only reason they're holding up. And this team is like a damn pendulum. The offense looks great. You think the offense is back to 2022, 2021 levels, then they fall off. And then the defense starts to return to where they were last 2 seasons. And it's like, I don't know what to expect. You're right. I do get concerned with this bet, with the Chiefs being on the road. But right away, like this market, this is the type of market I'm going to bet. And it brings me back flashbacks to when I was betting this same style of market against the Broncos and losing. That's another point, is like the past 2 games, actually, on paper is a different thing. A noise canceled score. They've won the past 2. They've won and covered the past 2 games. The Broncos 25-20 and the Colts 32-18. And I just think that it's just time for this Cowboys. It's just gone too far. And I think this number's too short. I'm on the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys are I just got a 4.5 against Philly last week. Now it's only 3 against Mahomes. And yeah.
It's Trey Smith being out too. So you're going to have Jalen Moore, who is everybody's replacement. Simmons' replacement, Jawan Taylor's replacement, Trey Smith's replacement. Now the replacement has to start.
Tyler Guyton out for the Cowboys too.
Guyton out too. Yeah, that's an issue. But Trey Smith changes that offensive line in a big way for the Chiefs. I'm still astonished at this 52.5.
I don't know. I could see it. I could see it going over. I wouldn't take the over. I'm just saying I could see it.
Well, and again, I don't think it's a gift. So I hate sitting here on the fence. But as we get closer to the game, I guess I'm finding the Chiefs more and more appealing. And I was hoping when we broke these games down on Tuesday, I mean, we'd be 25 minutes into these Thursday games. I love the next one, but we'd be 25 minutes into these first two, and I would be sitting here kind of handcuffed. But when push comes to shove, I think if you can get the Chiefs to the field goal or less, they should probably be bet here. With the season on the line, Troy touched on that noise-canceled score. The Chiefs badly, they outgained the Colts 494 to 255. When they had to, they completely shut down the Colts. I mean, the Chiefs were also one for 6 in the red zone. I know that we have a fortified Cowboy defense, but it's still the third worst red zone defense in the NFL. I guess after sitting here now for a few days and letting it marinate, knowing that the Chiefs aren't public either, I mean, I would like these sharper books like Circa to have a 3.5 out there, but I guess I'm going to pull the trigger on the Chiefs 3 or less. I think that we're selling the Cowboys high, and when it comes down to it, that's all I really want to do is sell teams high. Yeah, so I think you guys have helped here.
And you could say about the Cowboys' recent defensive surge, man, the Eagles' offenses look like shit. The Raiders have the worst offensive line in the NFL. The Eagles' offensive line was injured. Yes, I agree. Cincinnati, Baltimore in what should be an awesome game, man. Joe Burrow. Is it 100% confirmed that Joe Burrow is back?
I mean, they haven't gone out and said that it's 100% confirmed, but I think everybody's on the same page expecting Burrow under center.
Then I am on Cincinnati. I got a good number in this one, 8.5.
You want to kick it off, Kyle?
Sure. So obviously the lead story is Joe Burrow. He's actually only 1-6 in his lifetime against Lamar Jackson. He's 3-6 against the Ravens. 2 of those wins came against a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens team. So he's actually just 1-6 in his career against Lamar Jackson. 3-4 against the spread, though. We've seen a couple bangers in this series between Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, including that last one where I don't know how the Bengals lost that game. If you remember the fumble and then overtime, that was a wild football game. So in addition to Joe Burrow, obviously Jamar Chase comes back as well. Samaje Perine also back on this Bengals offense. So 3 players that weren't there last week are back. T. Higgins is out, though. The way I look at it for this Cincinnati offense, I think they're going to have a ton of flexibility here. So Cincinnati, low-key, has been one of the most efficient rushing attacks in the NFL this year. They're second in EPA per rush, 4th in success rate per rush. People don't really notice it because they don't run the ball much. They're an offense that operates via the pass. They're a pass-first offense, so you don't see like the big stat lines, but they're actually one of the most efficient rushing attacks in the NFL this year. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that run game might be just efficient enough to keep this Ravens defense honest. This is a Ravens defense that's significantly better than what we were seeing earlier in the season. No question. In fact, I don't even think saying they have the best secondary in the NFL is a hot take. Like I think that's a pretty reasonable. Their secondary is elite, full of playmakers right now. But they still are missing 3 starters of their original defensive line. And if the Bengals are able to hand the ball off and take 4 or 5 and just force Baltimore to have to commit something to take that away, that should open up opportunities for Burrow to connect on a few plays here. And just having Burrow back, having the Ravens with a hobbled defensive line, I think they have the ability to run the ball. And if the Ravens commit to that, having Burrow instead of Flacco gives them the ability to throw the ball downfield, something we really didn't see much of with Joe Flacco. Not that he can't do it, but he gets rid of the ball quickly, whether he doesn't want to get hit or whether he's just incapable of extending the play anyway. But having Burrow back should allow Cincinnati to extend the field. I'm also not too worried about him just coming back from injury also, because based on what we're reading, it sounds like he could have come back last week and they purposely held him out for this one. It sounds like he could have played last week. He was taking first team reps last week, if you guys remember, because Flacco was banged up. So I actually think Burrow could have come back last week if he wanted, and they held him out for this game. And the Ravens defense, they've looked awesome in the last 5 games. The Jets, the Browns, the Vikings with who played in that game? Was that McCarthy or Wentz? I think it was who played in that game? I don't even remember.
That was McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy. Yeah, it was McCarthy. Yeah. And then Dolphins, Bears. So, I mean, this is the most explosive offense they've seen in a while, this Ravens defense. And man, this is – people don't realize this, and this is crazy to think about. I want to bring it up on the screen, though, so you guys can really visualize it. Because I was even like, wow, I didn't realize this. So check this out. Baltimore, let me pull it up on the screen. So you would think that the Cincinnati Bengals are out of it here, right? That's what you would think. They're sitting there 3-8. They still play the Ravens twice. So if the Bengals win out, they'll be 9-8. The Ravens will automatically be at 6-7. So if the Bengals win out, they just need the Ravens to lose one other game and they win the division. And obviously the Steelers are in there as well. The Steelers have a gauntlet of a schedule. The Steelers go to Buffalo. They go to Detroit. The Steelers have a gauntlet of a remaining schedule. The Steelers still have to play Baltimore twice. So if the Bengals win out and the Steelers steal one from Baltimore, Cincinnati might win the division. So like it's not even that far-fetched. If the Bengals win out, they're in very good position to win this division. As crazy as it sounds, sitting at 3-8. So the Bengals are still very much in it. And I think that was the plan all along last week. They just got to beat Baltimore twice. If they win out, they're in good position. They got Joe Burrow. I think we're going to see one last great fastball here from Cincinnati. On the other side of the ball, I will say I'm not too worried. If I'm a Ravens fan, I'm not too worried about Lamar Jackson struggling. He's had 3 rough games in a row. One was in Cleveland with hurricane winds. The other one was against Minnesota, the Brian Flores blitzes. The game against the Jets is a little concerning. He played poorly against the Jets. They also weren't able to run the ball. But as a whole, I could play the card of like the Ravens offense doesn't look very good, but I don't believe that. I think they're fine. They just haven't looked very good recently. Bengals defense seems to be coming around. They played a good defense against the run in the last 2, but I'm not really buying that either. I think we're going to see back and forth. Yeah, I think we see some fireworks here. I'm on the Bengals. You guys with me?
I am with you, and I've kind of double dipped onto both sides. I did bet the Bengals side +7, -108, and I also bet a prop in this game that kind of goes against my action. So I'm going to kind of make a pitch for both sides, but I do believe the matchup, the X's and O's, the situation does favor the Bengals. However, looking at this market, which was at one time very bullish, I thought we'd see this line start ticking down as Joe Burrow got closer and closer to starting this game. I thought we'd start seeing 6.5, 6 pop. To be honest, we'll see what happens in the morning. But I don't like to see the public sentiment being on the Bengals with their superstar quarterback coming back. It's just not a spot I really like to be involved in. However, you just can't deny the X's and O's. The Ravens win by 13. The noise adjusted score was 18-16. And if you watch that game, you know exactly how true that noise adjusted score really is. The Jets held the Ravens to a 35% success rate with no Quinnen, no Sauce. They only ran the ball for 2.9 yards per carry. We've seen that multiple times throughout the season where they just haven't been able to get the ground game going. Lamar Jackson was only pressured on 25% of his dropbacks. He posted a 61 PFF grade, a 76 passer rating. I feel like something is fundamentally wrong with this offense, and that concerns me because I have futures on this Ravens. I mean, I backed them 3 weeks in a row successfully, and I just haven't seen them take the next step. I didn't back them last week. For the past 2 weeks, I faded them against when they played the Browns in Cleveland, and I'm back fading them again. And the defense has looked great. I've preached the high heavens of why this defense has turned around. We talked about Kyle Hamilton playing in the box, Malachi Starks, Nate Wiggins at corners, right? Coming of age as young players and really developing quickly. But who have they played defensively? The Jets with a backup quarterback, no vertical threats. The Browns, who have a bottom 3 offense in the NFL with no vertical threats. The Vikings, who had basically, if you look at EPA per play, the worst NFL quarterback in history. The Dolphins, who actually put up a pretty good performance. They just ran into some bad variants, and I was pretty fortunate to cash in that game. They haven't seen an elite passing attack in over a month. I think we're going to see a little bit of a contrast effect with the passing attack that's actually competent. I think that they're going to give the Ravens some problems. Now, on the other side of things, this market really did concern me, so I did move on a passing prop in this game. It's kind of weird because I don't want to take a passing prop under on a team that I think is going to be losing or be threatened to lose. But I did move on Lamar Jackson's under his passing prop. If you look at his ADOT, it's the lowest in his career. His designed runs has descended to 0 the first time in his career. Last 2 games, he had 1 designed run. Last game, he had 0. It just tells me something is not right with Lamar Jackson. And if the Ravens look at the tape, what are they going to say? They're going to look at the tape. They're going to look at this Bengals run D, and they're going to say, we're going to run this ball down this team's throat. The Bears ran the ball for 7.6 yards per carry, over 200 yards. Jets over 200 yards, 7 yards per carry. The Packers, the Steelers, it just goes on and on. The team's gashing this Bengals defense on the ground. You look at Lamar Jackson's prop at 234.5. That's egregiously low. I mean, we're looking at a total of 52, a passing prop of 234.5, and a defense that has allowed all but 2 quarterbacks to go over this 235 number, Jake Browning and Carson Wentz. The number is telling me how much success the Ravens are probably going to have on the ground in this game. And like I said, I don't like to back the passing prop under when I'm backing the other side on the spread. But, I just feel like it's a perfect spot because if the Bengals don't cover the spread, well, all the more likely he goes under his prop. And QBs in blowout wins, they don't go over their passing prop. So I feel like there's multiple ways we can get to this passing prop under. I do like the Bengals on the side. I'm a little concerned with the market, and I do like that passing prop under the total.
Jim, you with us?
No.
What? You're in Baltimore?
No. I haven't bet Baltimore yet. I was still hoping that this total would tick up to 52. So I'm going to be on unders in this game tomorrow. I'm a firm believer of fading excitement. When people are excited about offseason moves, excited about a star player returning, I want to bet against it. There's no fairy tales in Shawshank, and if there were, this would be a 5.5. This was a 6.5 on Monday. There's one person now. Rich Hall, well, Ravens money line doesn't. I won't say that counts, but there's one person here on Ravens -6.5. Every single other person in the chat is saying Bengals, Bengals, Bengals. Take Bengals money line too. This is exactly if you're wondering, which game here is the public going to take a bath? Well, this would be the one. Everyone's so excited about Burrow coming back. The book's hanging. Now you can still get a 7. It's juiced, but book's basically hanging 7.5s, saying, "Oh, you're excited about Joe Burrow coming back? Well, bet it here. Bet it here." Now, in saying that, there are very sharp cappers like both of you gentlemen that are on the Bengals. I don't just fade excitement just to fade excitement, but the Flacco line from last week was extremely telling. They moved. They said we're not starting Burrow, we're starting Flacco, and the line moved towards the Bengals. It was astonishing, and all the Patriots backers lost their shirt. Everybody in the Circa contest taking the Patriots -6.5, thinking they were getting some sort of deal, lost their shirt. They all lost money because the books are in control, not us.
Not us who got in on New England -5.5 early.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That was incredibly beautiful. But that was a sweat.
Oh, hell yeah, it was.
You were not sitting back with your feet up watching that. So, I do not agree here with the excitement. I do not agree with the excitement. So, everybody talking about it, this line at 7.5. So, no, I'm not going to be on the Bengals. Now, could I see Burrow coming back as the, knight on his horse leading the Bengals back? Sure. I mean, it's easy to romanticize Joe Burrow. He's an incredible quarterback. Incredible. But I do not, I'm not joining the excitement. I never join the excitement. If any team makes exciting moves, I want to bet against it. And so I'm still figuring out what the best route is to fade this excitement, whether it is to take the Ravens or to take the Ravens double result. But Dominican boy, you are right. Fade me if you find value that way. That that we're all about just information and giving value. So fade away, my friend.
Jimmy, you are breaking one of your rules in this spot, though.
And what's that?
Are you selling high on the Ravens? Are you buying high on the Ravens? 5 straight wins.
They look like trash. They were just outgained by the Jets, 282-241. I mean, I don't care about the win.
5 straight W's. The offense, the success rate for this offense just continues to drop. Versus the Dolphins, 46%. Versus the Vikings, 45%. The Browns, 44%. The Jets, 35%. And tanking. Now it is the Bengals. So it is. They could run the football, and that's the difference between this game and those games.
And look, I personally don't give a shit who the public's on, but if you want to play the public angle, 95% of the public bets the day of the game, and they're going to look and see the Bengals have lost 4 in a row and the Ravens have won 5 in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if that swings the other way. As far as
really?
I don't care about that, though. But
you don't think Joe Burrow is the story that everyone's going to be talking about tomorrow? Everybody going to be talking about?
The people that bet that way aren't the most. I mean, one team's won 5 in a row and the other one's lost 4 in a row. It's tough to. But I mean. Now that we're at 7, it's getting close. I'm on an 8.5, so I'd still play it at 7. I think it should be 6.5 is where I would make it myself. So we're getting close. 49ers, Cleveland. Got another great. I got some bad numbers this week. This is another great one. Cleveland. I'm on +7.
Jimmy, kick it, man.
Yeah, this is such a gift here. Now, I don't know if the side is going to be easy. Because the 49ers have a ton of heart and a ton of character too. The weather is changing here. It doesn't look like the snow showers and rain showers are going to dissipate. It looks like it'll just be light rain. But 19-mile-per-hour winds. I was late to the party on Tuesday morning with the under 40.5. I got the first half under 20.5. We're just destroying these line moves. I fear for the 49ers, and if the weather gets a little bit better, it will help them a lot because they're not used to playing in these conditions. They're also in Cancun next week. It's tricky, road game, out of your element when you know you're about to go on vacation. We just saw the Chargers, and the weather wasn't bad, but in Jacksonville a week before their bye, and they got lit up and smoked. The Shadur party that we had last week, cashing on Shadur and Troy cashing on the Shadur pass prop over. Look, I'm excited about watching Shadur play. I think Cleveland is excited about having him and watching him play. I think this number 1 ranked pass rush, this number 1 ranked rush defense can nullify a lot of what the 49ers do in 20-mile-per-hour winds, 25 to 30-mile-an-hour gusts, and higher. This is the first half under 20.5, full game under 40 is just, to me, like the wheelhouse type stuff. This is going to be an extremely low-scoring game. And then you guys got better numbers than me on the Browns. Kyle sitting with the 7, Troy sitting with a 6.5. I'm sitting with a 6. And I absolutely love it. The only regret I have is Troy moved on that first half +3.5 with a little bit of vig. I would have liked to have that too. I would like to have 4 units here on this one. This is the most perfect football situation for gamblers. This game is going to put everybody to sleep. The conditions are going to be ugly, and the Browns won't just cover, but we will cash both unders. This is a wheelhouse smash and grab spot. I love it. Favorite spot on the board by far. Wow. By far. I love it.
So you're on the under too, Troy, as well as
No. So I got the Browns. I got the Browns 3 ways. I got the first half +3.5, the full game 6.5, and the Browns money line +205. And a lot of that has to do with what I see defensively from these Cleveland Browns and how easy it is to strategize against this 49ers offense. I mean, we know the Browns defense is extremely good. We know Myles Garrett, in my opinion, he's the best defensive player I've ever seen in terms of impact to a game. And it's very clear what the 49ers strategy is going to be, especially in these weather conditions, especially against this defense. They're going to run the ball with CMC. They're going to throw the ball to CMC. And if it isn't going to CMC, like I said on Tuesday, this will probably be the worst EPA, in all of week 13. If the Browns are good at one thing, it's going to be limiting the opposing team's running back production. We've seen it all season long. I have a feeling the 49ers game plan is going to be ultra conservative, even better reason to take the points. CMC, to find success, he's going to have to hit home runs and home runs solely, because I don't think the down-to-down success rate is going to be there. And then I'm not going to sell you a pipe dream about Shadur Sanders and tell you something he hasn't proven yet. But I will say that if you look at what he's done so far in just his 2 starts, he definitely raises the ceiling for this offense a few levels. And he also, the floor as well, but I feel like the ceiling goes up a few levels. The floor goes down maybe 1 or 2, because Dylan Gabriel was not doing anything for this offense. You got to scratch what we see in Shadur's first start. In his first true NFL start, his PFF grade was terrible. His completion, 55%. only one turnover-worthy play and an 87 pass rating, not that great. But what he brings to the table is the ability to stretch the field. He needed 20 pass attempts to pass for 209 yards. Dylan Gabriel passed for 200-plus yards only one time all season, and he needed 52 passing attempts to get there. That is terrible. I think Shedeur does a lot for this offense. I'm not going to say it's going to show up in this game with this weather, but I am saying I believe that it is a very comparable defense to what he just seen in the Raiders, who like to play cover 3. As soon as I think Salah's going to play all cover 3, comes out and plays press man. So that's what happened against the Panthers. Hopefully, I don't care what he does this week, because all I need Shedeur Sanders to do is turn around, hand the ball off, don't turn it over, let this defense do its work, keep this game close, and force Brock Purdy to do something through the air. If they do that, it's going to be a very successful day for the Browns. I also think, the 49ers coming off a primetime, an easy, comfortable primetime win at home. They haven't played outdoors. They haven't played in any type of bad or negative, unfavorable, cold, windy, any type of bad conditions. They haven't seen it at all this year. It's been very nice and easy, even keeled. And now they're going into a very hostile environment, terrible weather, and a team that's going to get the outright win.
Couldn't agree more. What are we expecting San Francisco to do offensively in this game? Run the ball on the road in Cleveland, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, rain and we got rain, sleet, snow mixture, 76% precipitation, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. This is going to be disgusting, guys. This is going to be disgusting. What are we expecting San Francisco to do here offensively? Oh, you're going to drop Brock Purdy back to pass in Cleveland in that weather against the pass rush? Do you think that's a good strategy? Guy who tends to hold on to the football? A guy who just threw 3 picks in the first half last week? You want to drop him back to pass 40 times in the snow, sleet shit in Cleveland with 30 mile an hour winds? You think that's going to work? I don't know what the 49ers are going to do offensively in this game. Honestly, you know what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to run the ball. I don't know how much success they're going to have on the road in Cleveland. Has anybody run the ball on the road in Cleveland? I don't think the 49ers offense is really going to struggle here. On the other side of the ball, I don't think Shedeur Sanders plays well either. I will say he was under a ton of pressure last week. He was pressuring over 57% of his dropbacks, which is like practical joke. Yes, some of those were his own doing for holding onto the football, but he was under a lot of pressure. When he delivered a throw from a clean pocket, he had a pass rating over 137 last week. He just didn't deliver many because he held onto the ball, which obviously rookie and all that, but I thought he played pretty well last week. In this shit, though, like I could say, hey, San Francisco can't generate pressure. Shedeur's going to have clean pockets to do what? In this weather, like to do what? So I'm not expecting Cleveland to do much either. I don't hate that under at all. The only thing that would hold me off and under is if it's not rain, sleet, if it's snow. Because we tend to see some explosive plays in the snow. Snovers are real. Snovers are real. We tend to see some big plays in the snow. Whereas if it's like a nasty rain, then it's like no one's doing shit. But we tend to see some big plays in the snow. So if it happens to be a little bit, as of right now, it's looking rain, sleet, snow mixture is what I'm reading. If it happens to be just snow, I could see it going over. But don't hate that under at all. I actually have a touchdown score too. I don't know if I've won my last 2. I don't know if I've lost any this year. I don't do these very often. I got David Sills for the Falcons last week. I'm with, where's my guy? Where's my graphic? Juice chick. 49ers plus 1,000. So I read an article, a couple interviews with Kyle Shanahan, a couple interview with Brock Purdy. Everything repeatedly harping on getting the ball out quickly, over and over and over again. Getting the ball out quickly. It was mentioned several times. This game, obviously, you don't want to drop back and stand in the pocket in this weather against Cleveland's pass rush. Ball's going to be out quickly. When you're talking about only passes behind the line of scrimmage, only short passes, if you narrow it down just to that, then Juszczyk actually has a high target share on this team when he's on the field. It's when you mix in the downfield throws, that's when he falls down. But if they're only going to be catching short passes, Juszczyk's target share, he's gotten 2 targets a game for the last 5. He's gotten exactly 2 every game. Maybe he gets 4 in this one, and plus 1,000's live. So I did bet this.
I like Juszczyk. It's a great call. It's supposed to be 40 now. It's around like a little bit after kickoff. So I do not expect The rain and the snow mixture I expect to be done by about 10 in the morning.
Oh,
and I expect
okay.
That's what I'm, and also the fear now, and it's not changed much for in the marketplace, but the fear now is that an hour and a half, 2 hours into the game, some sites are saying that it's 25% precipitation and light rain.
Oh,
so it's the wind is the huge part. Now it's going to be ugly waking up and getting to the field and all of that stuff, but at this point the weather is improving. The wind is not changing at all.
Yeah,
but it's becoming a little bit warmer, which then would create the rain. We just need a lot of it, and I'm a little worried about not getting a ton of it. I still think this is a smash and grab, at the price. Now, cappers are asking you guys in the chat right now, do you still like it at 36.5, and do you still like it at 4.5? My answer to that would be, I like the Browns better at 4.5 than the total at 36.5. We know that 37 is a pretty key number with these unders. A final score of 2017 will cash, everybody's under except the people who got in late. So that would be my answer. Do you guys have an answer for cappers wondering if the numbers are still good?
I second your notion, Jimmy.
Yeah, I kind of think 4.5 might be still good. Yeah, maybe I'd say cut it off at 3.5. Maybe I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I bet this one's super early, so I haven't really thought about it. I'd probably still roll with it at 4.5.
I don't think I'd move on the under 36.5 now. I think maybe, yeah, and I don't think you'll get a better opportunity live because the weather's supposed to get better as the game goes on. I'm pumped up for the game, though. I do really enjoy watching Shedeur. It's some excitement that we haven't had in Cleveland in a long time.
Yeah, it's the so polarizing. Some people blindly hate him, and then people blindly love him. It's like, how will we just watch and make an opinion? It's a lot of fun. All right, Jags Titans. All right, where are you guys going with this one?
Well, I'll set it up quick and let Troy knock it down. We bet this in different ways here. First off, I like the under a lot. I'm on the first half under 20.5, full game under 42. And I'm also on Tennessee plus 6.5. And Troy has correlated action. And his action may be more sound for the situation. But the Jaguars are hosting the Colts next week. It's a massive game for them. They're going up against a 1-10 team, 0-6 at home. The 24 points that the Titans put up, season high for them. We know that Chimere DK, punt return was a big part of that. I mean, they just averaged 4.4 yards per play. But I think the Titans can be in this football game. I think 6.5 is too many points. Now, I want to see it at 6 tomorrow night, and I want to see it at 5.5 come Sunday. I don't want to see this sitting at 6.5. If you want to talk about what is a similar spot that sat at 6.5 the whole entire week, well, it's the Vikings against the Packers. That sat at 6.5 all week long. The market, had no concern at all, anybody betting the dog. So I'd like to see. Now, the 6.5s are juiced right now, and we didn't pay any vig for the 6.5, but I think it's a look-ahead spot for Jacksonville. I think this game means a lot to the Titans. And I think it's, 12-mile-per-hour winds, nothing, egregious, 45 Fahrenheit. It's not like the weather's so bad. I just think both teams will struggle moving the football. It'll be a sleepy affair. I'm on first half under, full game under, and I'm on Tennessee plus 6.5.
I'm going to be, I have the correlated action like Jimmy had talked about. I am on the Jags team total under 24.5 in this game. We're looking at the Jags offense, which you look at their last 3 games, they put up 27 against the Cardinals. They had a 38% success rate. They did put up a legitimate offensive performance against the Chargers at home. And then against Houston Texans on the road, they had 29 points, but the Noise Justice score had them at 12 points. Their offense was putrid in that game. Very lucky to even be in that game. And I know the Texans feel probably very lucky to have won that game, but I think that the Jaguars coming off 2 straight wins, and they're now travel for their second consecutive road game. They have the big game on deck. They played 1 game outdoors in 10 weeks, and it was overseas against the Rams. They only scored 7 points in that game. Now, this is a little bit different situation because instead of being 6.5-point dogs, they're 6.5-point favorites, and they're on the road. But this is the epitome of a one-dimensional offense, a team that wants to run the ball and is perfectly fine with winning this type of game by the thinnest of margins. I can't talk enough shit about Trevor Lawrence. Like, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I talk about him like multiple weeks now, where I could just point out so many things that point to him being, closer to Geno Smith than the future of your franchise as a quarterback. I love the Jags team total under for a few, all the reasons I just talked about, but I expect long, grueling possessions, less risk of turnovers. They're going to want to run the football, and if anything, that's where the Titans, that's their strong suit with Simmons, Joseph Day, Sweat, Cedric Gray, who's a fantastic run defending linebacker. And the Titans have also faced a gauntlet of quality offenses. What type of offenses have they seen that were similar to Jacksonville? They held Arizona to 21 points, the Raiders to 20 points, and Houston to 16 points. And they locked up all the main running backs in those games. And also, lastly, the market history of this type of market with the market moving towards the home dog in this spot in division. It's just the road team does not go over their total. This is a bet I'm very confident in that I might be adding to as the week goes on.
Well, let the record show that the format for this show is they choose the games, and I would not have chosen this one. I disagree, strongly. I think we saw two games from these two teams last week with extremely misleading final scores. The final score makes it look like the Titans were in that game. They got smoked in that game, and I rewatched it today. They got smoked. There was a point in that game where it was 23-3 because the Seahawks settled on 3 field goals. The score could have been 35-3 at that point, and then the Titans had a punt return, and then Seattle immediately went down the field and scored again. So it was 30-10, and it legitimately could have been 45-3. It was a blowout last week, and Cam Ward did string together a couple touchdown drives in garbage time, but that was a blowout. And we're talking about a Jacksonville team that just lost the turnover battle 4-0 last week and still won on the road. If they don't turn the ball over, I would imagine they win that game pretty comfortably, against the Cardinals. I agree that the Jags aren't as good as their record shows. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I feel like the way you guys are talking about them, you compared their offense to the Raiders. What? I don't even think they're in the same stratosphere as the Raiders. They're one of the most efficient rushing attacks in the NFL. Again, I don't think their offense is great, but to compare them to the Raiders is crazy. The Raiders are terrible. Jags are averaging over 30 points per game in their last 4, success rate over 50%. Yeah, the couple of the games are a little bit misleading, but it's not like this offense is bad. And the way Seattle was just effortlessly running the ball on the Titans, there was a second where I was like, my biggest bet of the week was the Titans plus 7.5 against Houston. So I was in on the Titans. I was like, guys, they got healthier. They're coming off a bye week, and they covered for me. Last week in Seattle, I picked Tennessee plus 13.5 on the show. So my pick won. Man, I didn't disagree. They got smoked. This Titans team I think they're the worst in the NFL. And Jacksonville's pass rush is starting to heat up. Even without Trayvon Walker, who I don't know if he's coming back or not, but they've got over a 40% pressure rate in their last 4 games. They've got edge rushers. Titans are probably going to be without their center, Cushenberry, in this one. I don't know how they protect Cam Ward. I don't know how they run the ball. The Jags have been tough against the run all year. Titans have been lucky enough to operate without a Cam Ward turnover in a while. I think the Jags beat them up. Again, I wouldn't have chosen this game. You guys picked it, but I disagree. When I first looked at it, I'll admit, my first glance, it was 7.5, and I was like, okay, I think I might go Titans, but I didn't look at it again until days later when it's at 6.5, and I rewatched the games for both these teams, and it would be Jags. I think the Titans are like a touchdown below any other team in the NFL right now.
What did you think of the Jags' victory at Arizona?
It wasn't great, but it also you lose the turnover battle 4-0 and still win a road game. What is that score if the turnovers aren't there? You got it
with Trevor Lawrence on the road. Turnovers are going to be there.
Maybe
back-to-back road games too. And do you have no fear with Jacksonville hosting Indianapolis next week with their thoughts of the division on the line?
By the way, the Titans defense has forced 3 turnovers all year too. They're not a team that forces turnovers.
They're not.
Well, they played some damn good offenses. Now they got Trevor Lawrence. They're good. They could run the ball, and that's what I love about this under. And I think the bookies are painting the perfect picture for the Jags to have a shit offensive performance. Look at every game they played this season on the road. They've been over this total 24.5. Now it's 24.5 juiced heavily, minus 130 to the under. I think the books are kind of telling us that the Jags are going to have a flat spot.
And sports scientist Jacob is a great capper, and all of these Jags road games, they've all gone over. And I'm with Troy. Like, yes, it feels like we're trying to catch a falling knife to some extent, but you even bring up the Cushenberry issue. The Titans, they do not score a lot of points, and that was an outlier. The score was not indicative of what happened in that Seattle game. I mean, the noise cancel score was still 29-21. We've seen Seattle take their foot off the gas in situations. We saw them against the Cards take their foot off the gas, with a big lead. I don't trust the Jaguars.
Wait, hold on. The noise cancel score for Seattle, Tennessee was 29-21?
29-21 Seahawks.
What? I just rewatched that game. Dude, they crushed them. Like
the noise canceled score for Cardinals Jags was 22-20 Cardinals.
I don't understand how those are being calculated. But all right. No,
I feel you. I feel
the Seahawks could have been up 45-3 in that game. Not kidding. 45-3.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was a blowout. And then the Titans scored a punt return and 2 touchdowns in garbage time. So that was a blowout.
I feel that the Seahawks would do the same thing to the Jags.
Oh, probably. But I think that the Titans are, I'm not kidding, a full touchdown below any other team. The only reason I bet them so heavily that one time was I just loved the spot coming off a bye against Davis Mills. It was like, if we're ever going to see a good Titans game, it's right here. This is the best the Titans got right here. And they still lost to Davis Mills. But yeah, I think the Titans are terrible.
Yeah, I
agree.
I don't think they're a good football team. They're the worst football team in the league. 1-10, 0-6 at home. I just think that this is a spot where I can take advantage of a situation. Back-to-back road games for the Jaguars. The division leader on deck. They're hosting the division leader.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the Jags. The only reason I'm sharing my opinion is because you guys picked the game. This would not have been one of my picks to talk about. I was leading Jacksonville.
Yeah, I love these types of unders. When the market puts a number up that a team has surpassed in every single football game they played on the road all year, are they idiots? Is that it? The books are idiots? The gamblers are getting incredible value on this? No, I don't think so. I think this is a sleepy-ass football game in Nashville, Tennessee. Jaguars have their sights set on much bigger things. The Titans do care about this game, and I think they can stay in it. But, every time – it feels like every time that you're on the other side of me, you get the cash. So it's not a position of confidence.
That's not one of my. One of the one I am on the other side. Oh no, we're both on the Lions. I did bet that one. I am on Detroit -2.5. But all right, guys, where can they find you?
Ooh, well, tomorrow, 12 hours. Have a 26er of booze and. I'll be here for every single football game. But generally speaking, Troy and I are every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, a bankroll blitz, and the beat goes on. Troy now up 64.87 units on the year. I've never seen – I've been doing this publicly for 10 years, and this is the finest season I've seen a capper have. And he's not comfortable with it. And, we want to keep climbing. So we're going to keep getting after it. So every Tuesday, 8 p.m., Eastern, Bankroll Blitz on Pub Sports Radio, and then we host every live stream. Troy leads off every live stream with us, but we love coming here with you guys, so thank you for having us. Kyle, good luck to everybody in the Sauce Network. Have a great Thanksgiving, and get that cash, man.
Yeah. Kyle, go ahead and throw one of your games in next time. Let's talk about one of your spots.
Well, I mean, they always get to hear mine, so but I'm down to do that. But yeah, they already get to hear mine, so I thought that's usually how I do it is I have my videos where I go through all the games, and then the guests, I have guests on they already hear from me. So the idea of this show is for them to hear from people they wouldn't normally hear from. That's the format of it. They're probably sick of hearing my voice. That's all they hear. But all right, I just sent the invite to Toast. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'll pop into the comments during your stream tomorrow and say what's up. I got family stuff, but I'll be in there at some point.
Sweet. Thanks, Kyle.
That was good. Later.
Have a good night, guys. Where's Toast, actually? I did send him the invite. I actually probably should have told those guys to hang out until Toast gets here. Left me by myself. Not sure if I'll make it tonight from TV Jones. He sent that an hour ago. We might have to skip right to college football, guys. Let's go straight to college football for now. Welcome back. It is officially Wednesday, which means we got Kyle Hunter and Jay Sternberger will be here in a second. He was running a couple minutes late, so he'll be joining us any second. Kyle, how was your weekend? I had my first losing college football weekend in a while. NFL was good, but college football was not. How was your weekend?
I had a good weekend again in college football. I started out the season really badly, and it's been a really strong run here of late. So hopefully I can finish the season well still.
I started off the afternoon around 4 p.m. on Saturday. I was like, oh my God, I'm having a monster. And then everything collapsed. Arkansas, Colorado, Temple, USC, just everything collapsed late. And I turned what was looking like a beautiful Saturday into actually a losing week. So a little bit of a disappointing finish. NFL Sunday got my spirits back up, though. We got, I believe, 8 games to go through. And Jace will just join us whenever he hops in. First up, Thanksgiving, Navy, Memphis. Kyle, I think so. When I originally looked at this game, it was, I think, 6.5. And I was like, that number's about good. Now that there's a flat 4 available, I kind of think Memphis we're flirting into the range of possibly playable for Memphis. Do you agree with that?
I think I would want to bet the over more than anything else here. I mean, we saw how last year's game was. It was like a basketball score, 56-44.
100
points. I mean, how if you're Memphis, do you put up 659 yards and lose by 12 points? I mean, that's pretty hard to do. They managed to do it there. I don't know who's going to get stops here. I know the totals come down. I don't really know why. Brendan Lewis still not 100% healthy. I get that. These teams have played a lot of close games over the last several years. Navy has been good against them, 6-3-1 against the spread. I think both offenses have big advantages in the red zone versus defenses who've struggled to keep teams out of the end zone. Memphis is 10th in special teams ranking. Navy is 55th. Similar strength of schedule profiles. Memphis 37th in PPA margin. Navy's 48th. More than anything else, though, man, Navy and Memphis in a massive American Conference showdown on Thanksgiving night. Yes, I am here for this.
Yeah.
I want to see this game. You know I'm a college guy more than an NFL guy. I'll watch the NFL, of course, and handicap the NFL. But I'm going to be watching this one first. Now, the Bengals, who I do like to cheer for, on at the same time. So I got to watch both games. But this is the game that I'm paying the most attention to on Thursday night.
So you asked the question, who's making stops in this game? I honestly think Memphis might be able to. So I'm putting Memphis up. And like I said, I'm looking at a 4 minus 112. I think we're entering the range of playable. Like I said, when this one opened at 6, I was like, that number's perfect. That's exactly where I have it. So now that we're at 4, kind of leaning towards the Memphis side. First of all, I think Brendan Lewis is fine, by the way. He was dealing with an injury earlier in the season. He did leave their last game injured, but it was a wrist injury. It wasn't the ankle that was bothering him earlier in the year. So it was like a new injury, and apparently he's fine, and they had a bye week. So I think Lewis is fine. And I don't think anyone disagrees that Memphis should have no problem scoring points on. Navy can't cover anybody. Their secondary can't cover anybody. So even though Memphis is a rushing offense, I mean, they should be able to run the ball too. But I mean, Brendan Lewis should have no problem making throws on this Navy secondary. So I don't think we even need to go into Navy's defense against Memphis offense. I think everyone in the free world agrees that Memphis is going to score. On the other side, though, I think you can make a case for Memphis generating some stops here. I know Navy's got one of the most efficient offenses in college football. They're actually first in the country in success rate per rush. I think Horvath is completely healthy. He exited the South Florida game. He didn't play the previous week against Notre Dame. I think he's good to go. But there's perhaps some injury concerns there. But what Memphis has been really strong at this year is defending the run. Where I don't trust Memphis, and there was a reason that I picked Tulane, and I thought that Red Sox could have a big game against Memphis. I don't trust their secondary, kind of similar to Navy. In their last 2 games, even the 2 games they lost against Tulane and ECU, they allowed 3.5 yards per carry. They're not getting run on. Their problems are in the secondary, and I just don't know if Navy's the team to really exploit that. Navy obviously run first offense all the way. We already saw Memphis play an option offense earlier in the year, week 10 against Rice. They shut it down completely. Navy and Rice are not comparable in any way other than the fact that they run an option. But Memphis did not have problems defending the option against Rice. And this Navy offense, I got to say, if you look at their schedule, they played a lot of bad defenses. A lot. In fact, you can argue that the first 8 games on Navy's schedule were all against bottom 25 defenses. Now that we're getting into some tougher defenses in their last 2 games, they played Notre Dame and South Florida. The offense doesn't look nearly the same. In fact, they have a 36.4% success rate in their last 2 games against Notre Dame and South Florida. So I think Navy's offense is a bit overvalued, and I think at a flat 4, I might end up doing this on Memphis. So yeah, I'm on Memphis. I think they play spoiler here to ruins Navy season because Horvath's starting to get thrown around in Heisman talks. So I think they play spoiler. Let's move on to the next one. Old Egg Bowl. Oh man, this is So I suppose the move here. Were you one of the people that got on Mississippi State early? I think there were 9.5s out there.
I was not. I didn't bet anything here. Maybe should have taken the plus 9.5 or 9. I mean, that would certainly have been my lean at that price. This one's a tough handicap, though, Kyle. I mean, what do we do with the fact that Ole Miss has all the drama around them with Kiffin? I know Kiffin says it doesn't matter. These guys are young guys. This doesn't matter to their play for this one. I think it could matter to some people. And they're playing at Mississippi State. We know Mississippi State has a great home field advantage. We know that for sure. I mean, even this year, they've covered spreads at a really high rate, 5-1 against the spread at home this year. Mississippi State, I think, needs to be willing to run the football here. That's their path to success. Ole Miss is 105th in PPA per rush allowed, 20th in PPA per pass. So the secondary has really stepped up for Ole Miss, much better than I expected them to be. Both teams in the top 10 in plays per minute, but I would kind of expect a lot of running here. I think this is a really tricky handicap on a total. I know some sharp guys who really like the under in this one. The Egg Bowl has gone under, like 8 years in a row, something like that. So, maybe it'll go under again. Mississippi State's played the 12th toughest schedule, and Ole Miss 34th. I mean, Ole Miss has played an easy SEC schedule. I mean, I know the SEC is very good, but they have missed out on some of the very best teams. I don't know. Mississippi State has one massive weakness as a team. They cannot stop the run. They haven't stopped anybody from running. 135th in defensive line yards, 121st in yards per carry. Ole Miss should be able to run here. Mississippi State at home this year, 5-1 against the spread. I lean Mississippi State. I probably should have bet the thing at 9 or 8.5 or whatever. I'll just lean it. I don't think this is a bet that I'm going to place, to be honest with you.
And Jace made it. So, Jace, we already did Navy Memphis real quick. What do you like there? You're muted. You're still muted. I can't hear. All right. Anyway, so Ole Miss, Mississippi State. So, all right. Obviously, Starkville, Egg Bowl, the place is going to be going nuts. Mississippi State's also playing for bowl eligibility, so it's not like this is a meaningless game for Mississippi State. Ole Miss has actually had success here. They're 6-4 in their last 10 Egg Bowls, 3-6-1 against the spread. So betting Mississippi State to cover in the Egg Bowl has been profitable, but more so in Oxford. Their last 5 trips to Starkville, Ole Miss is 4-1 straight up, 3-1-1 against the spread. And like Kyle said, Ole Miss, not even a rushing team. They're going to be able to run the ball in this game because everybody runs the ball in Mississippi State. They're the worst run defense in the SEC, and I think that includes Arkansas. This run, they can't stop anybody on the ground. So we're talking about Trinidad Chambliss with run support. Remember, Mississippi State is still without their best defensive player, safety Isaac Smith. He's been out the last several weeks, and it does not look like he's coming back. So we're talking about Trinidad Chambliss with run support. should have plenty of time in the pocket to throw because Mississippi State does not generate a ton of pressure. And if you're worried about the cowbells and the tough road environment, I mean, this dude went into Norman and beat Oklahoma. He went into Georgia and played him down to the wire in Athens. So it's not like Trinidad Chambliss hasn't proven to us that he can play in a harsh road environment. He certainly can, and he has. With run support, with clean pockets, Ole Miss is going to score in this game. I know that the Egg Bowls have gone under. Ole Miss is scoring points in this game. It's really on the other side. Do I think Ole Miss can make stops? Apparently, it is going to be Blake Shapen at quarterback. We're not 100% certain on that, but the phrasing used was Blake Shapen will start if healthy. What that tells me is if we want to start the other guy, we'll just pretend he's not healthy. We've seen that move plenty of times. Their main wide receiver, Brennan Thompson's also questionable. Mississippi State's offense kind of racked up some really nice-looking numbers early in the season. It hasn't looked as good recently. Originally, I was like, oh, Mississippi State plus the big number. The more I looked at this one, the more I kind of wish this one touched 6.5 for a little while. It didn't last long. I kind of wish I pulled the trigger. I would lean Ole Miss, but I wish I pulled the trigger on a 6.5. If there's a 6.5 open again, I might do it. I wouldn't take it at a full 7. I would need 6.5 or better. Jace? No, can't hear you. It's all right. No, you're not muted or anything. Go to the settings button. The settings button at the bottom of the screen. I can't hear you. All right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, man, it's Texas A&M. This is where we need them, too. You must have the wrong... Oh. All right, Texas A&M, Texas... all right, let me scroll down. All right, hopefully Jace gets his mic working for this one. I thought this is going to close at 3, and it's looking like I'm definitely wrong on that. I'm on Texas A&M minus 2.5. Jace? Nope. I'm on Texas A&M minus 2.5. It looks like it's actually coming down. I mean, it went down to 1.5, then immediately came back up to 2.5. I saw earlier today. So it's mostly 2.5 still. I just think they're the far better team. And maybe Anthony Hill Jr. plays for Texas. Maybe he doesn't. He's currently listed as questionable. It's one of Texas' best defensive players. They need him because if Anthony Hill Jr. doesn't play at linebacker for Texas, their other linebacker is Ty Anthony Smith. He's suspended for the first half for targeting. They appealed it and lost. So if Anthony Hill Jr. is unable to play, Texas is going to be missing both linebackers for the first half. And this is not an offense you want to be missing your linebackers for. I think Marcel Reed is every bit equipped to handle this Texas defense. He's one of the best quarterbacks in college football against the blitz, one of the best quarterbacks in college football under pressure. Certainly has a ton of escapability. If you're worried about Texas A&M's offense in a harsh road environment, well, have you seen their numbers on the road? Texas A&M this year averaging over 43 points per game on the road. 43.3 points per game in the road game so far this year, over 7 yards of play. And if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they played bad. No, they played Missouri, LSU in Death Valley, Notre Dame in South Bend, and then Arkansas's in there as well. But no, they didn't play bad opponents. They played solid opponents on the road. And in their 4 road games, they're averaging over 43 points per game. So there's nothing that we've seen from Texas A&M indicates that we should be worried about them on the road. This Texas defense is good, but especially if Anthony Hill doesn't play, I think Texas A&M is able to move the ball fine. If Anthony Hill does play, I still think they're able to move the ball a little bit. I mean, he certainly is a big factor, but yeah, this Texas A&M offense is a wagon. We saw the annual Texas A&M collapse in the first half of the South Carolina game. We saw the annual collapse. They survived it. They ended up coming back and winning the game. So it's kind of like, oh shit, like this, we saw what normally happens to Texas A&M and they survived it. So yeah, I think Texas A&M is able to move the ball. And on the other side, are we just going to forget everything we've seen from the Texas offense? They can't run the ball at all. In their 7 conference games, SEC games, they're averaging less than 2.8 yards per carry. They can't run the ball. This Texas A&M defensive front practically lives in the backfield. There should be plenty of TFLs for Texas A&M. What's one thing Texas has really struggled with on the offensive side of the ball this year? Keeping Arch Manning protected. And we're talking about arguably the best pass rush in college football in Texas A&M. Despite Arch Manning playing an SEC schedule, they've actually only played 4 games against good defenses, which is surprising. They played a lot of the Arkansas. They played Mississippi State. They played a lot of games against bad defenses. Arch Manning has played 4 games against good defenses. Ohio State, Florida, Oklahoma, Georgia. His numbers in those games are not good, and he was pressured on 48% of his dropbacks in those 4 games. So I think Texas A&M is considerably better. So yeah, I'm on -2.5. It's a magical year. Elko's I love every single one of Elko's press conferences too. Everything he says, I'm like, yup, that's how I would have phrased that also. I feel like he's really connecting with his team, and they're clicking on all levels right now. I think you can make an argument this is the best team in college football. So yeah, I'm on A&M -2.5. Kyle?
Well, I mean, I think you and I are thinking quite a bit alike. I'm going to take Texas A&M's team total over 26.5, which, I mean, correlates pretty nicely to Texas A&M minus the points too. I think Texas would love nothing more than to pull an upset here. So I think you get plenty of effort from Texas in a season that's definitely been a disappointment. Texas is only 58th in PPA margin so far this year. They're actually +10 in turnover margin, or else they could look quite a bit worse than they have as far as wins and losses. A&M's -5 in turnover margin. They've been able to win all those games. It's pretty impressive. Both teams really heavily penalized. So I think we'll see a lot of flags in this game. Texas just lacks the balance that A&M has on offense. A&M can run or throw. I think Reed can have a good game here. Texas, like you said, absolutely no run game. They haven't been able to run on anybody. So I don't know why we would expect them to be able to run here. And A&M's pass rush, I think, is a key to this game too. They're 4th in havoc created. Texas is 69th in havoc allowed. Texas is 12th in the SEC in pass blocking grade at PFF. Their offensive line's bad. I think Manning deserves some heat. I think he was propped up too much. And, I still think Manning could be very good. Maybe next year he has a good season. They need to get him an offensive line because I think the line is the biggest problem with Texas's offense. But Texas, the defense, very good against the run. But the secondary numbers have kind of tailed off. 66th in PPA per pass allowed. I think Reed has an opportunity here in the passing game to do something special. And while I think this could be tight for a while, I think A&M is going to be able to score points, move the ball consistently. To me, Texas, maybe they can hit a big play here or there, but we haven't consistently seen a good offensive performance from them against a good defense all year. Elko's a good defensive mind. I think A&M is going to score quite a few points here. I don't think Texas can quite keep up.
Agree fully. And I also agree with what you said about Arch Manning. Earlier in the season, I think it was after the Florida loss, he was obviously catching a lot of criticism on social media and on all the shows and everything. Everyone was throwing a lot of criticism at Arch Manning. And at that point, he was pressured on over 51% of his dropbacks. And I remember thinking yeah, he deserves some criticism, but guys, I can assure you there's not many quarterbacks that would have good numbers if they're pressured on over 51% of their dropbacks. So he was under fire. Next up, Arizona State, the Territorial Cup. I kind of want to, there was a 2.5 I almost took. I kind of want to take the Sun Devils here. What are your thoughts on this one?
I don't have much on this one, Kyle. I mean, I think this is a good game that just is one I'd rather watch than I would bet. I think Arizona State is a feisty team. I really like their coach. I mean, I think he's very good at getting a team up. I trust Fafita more than I trust Sims. And I think Danny Gonzalez is a great defensive coordinator for Arizona. This is a really under the radar good rivalry. I mean, not as many people talk about it. To me, maybe under, thinking that this game would be a bit tighter. I'll lean under here, but this is not a game I'm going to bet. It's one that I'd just rather watched. So no action from me.
Okay, so I think there's a few things pointing towards Arizona State here that maybe might not be accounted for in the market. Oh, Chase is here. I think I hear him now too. Yeah, I hear you.
There we go.
It's been a nightmare day, so this makes sense.
All right, so let me finish this game, and then we'll go back a rapid fire on the games we missed. So, all right, so I think there's a few things here for Arizona State that maybe aren't being accounted for. So, yeah, Arizona struggled in Tempe. That's obviously accounted for. They're 1-5 in their last 6 trips here, 2-4 against the spread. So this Arizona State team is still mathematically alive in the Big 12 championship race. They need some help. no, the Big 12 is tough. The implications are pretty complicated. They do have the tiebreaker over Texas Tech, but Arizona State needs to win, and they need help. They could still play in the Big 12 championship game. So by no means is this just a rivalry game. Arizona State's still in this. So Arizona State's defense, I think, is undervalued. They have played solid defense all year. In fact, outside of the Utah game where they just got lit up, they've in their other 7 Big 12 games, they're allowing 5 yards per play, success rate under 37%. Arizona State has played consistent, solid defense all year. And this is an Arizona offense that keeping Fafita protected in the pocket is pretty important. And Arizona State's pass rush hasn't been anything great, but Arizona's got offensive line issues here. Their right tackle, Tristan Bounds, missed the Baylor game and is questionable. Their right guard left the Baylor game injured. So the entire right side of the offensive line for Arizona might not play in this game. Certainly want to have a healthy offensive line going on the road here. Arizona State, specifically in their home games, they're allowing less than 4.9 yards per play. And they played Texas State, TCU, Texas Tech, Houston, West Virginia. It's not like they played scrubs in their home games. They're playing great defense at home in Tempe, great defense all year. I think this could be a struggle for Arizona on the offensive side of the ball. And on the other side of the ball, I can't believe I'm saying this, I kind of like the matchup for Jeff Sims. Arizona, what's their strength defensively? They have an elite secondary. No one's really thrown the ball in Arizona this year. They've got a great secondary. But against the run, they've been vulnerable. In their last 5 games, 51% success rate per rush against Arizona. They're a below average run defense. All Arizona State's going to do with Jeff Sims at quarterback is run the ball. Arizona's also most likely missing their linebacker, Max Harris. He's the 4th leading tackler. He left the Baylor game injured. It's another thing. Arizona got hit with a few injuries in that Baylor game. All they're going to do is run the ball, control the clock. I agree with the under because I think Arizona State's going to purposely hold on to the football as long as possible. I think the wrong team's favorite. I would probably make this Arizona State -1.5, -2. So yeah, I almost pulled the trigger on a +2.5 last night. It looks like it's gone. I'll do it at +2.5. It's at +1.5 right now. I don't see any reason to rush it. I don't know how much this number is going to move, but yeah, I like the Sun Devils here in Tempe. Jace?
Yeah, I'm all over Sun Devils. I think Kenny Dillingham, they get it done. I don't know how many more games he has left there, but yeah, Arizona's a good team. They've been moving the ball well this year. They hurt me on my over last week. Well, they didn't. I guess Baylor did. They didn't do their part. Yeah, I like Arizona State at home. I think Jeff Sims gets it done on his 30th, however old he is. I think he gets it done.
All right, so we'll do rapid fire to get you caught up. Navy, Memphis. Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis. I like them at home. I don't think they're going to lose 2 home games in a row.
Cool. And then next up, Egg Bowl.
You already know I've rocked with them all year long. I got to take Mississippi State at home.
So
Ole Miss isn't focused.
Ole Miss is about to hang 50 on these people, man.
They might, but Kiffin's not going to be there next week.
I think that's being blown out of proportion too. I think it's a bunch of Twitter nonsense, man.
I genuinely have no idea what's going to happen. I'm going to be mad if he stays, but it
would he bail on the team? It's in postseason play. I feel like that doesn't look good.
Has any of this looked good?
That's the thing. I think up to this point, a lot of it is rumorville, and maybe he did visit LSU in Florida, like Twitter said. Apparently, he visited. Maybe he did, but I don't think there's anything that indicating he would just completely bail. They might be in the SEC championship game. He's not going to bail.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think he goes. I don't know. I change my mind every day.
A&M, Texas. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you?
I wouldn't say worried. Not worried really at all. I'm honestly trying to think about it. I don't know. I just don't see how Texas scores more points than us unless our offense just genuinely shits the bed. I think our front 7, offense and defense, is much better than theirs. Anthony Hill's probably going to play, but I don't know how healthy he is.
Play?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm assuming he will because they're making it, this is a huge game. But even if he doesn't play that, I like it even more. But, they got a good D lineman, Colin Simmons, and they got some other good interior players, but I still think A&M has the best O-line in the SEC, and yep. I know we haven't technically, I guess, compared to everybody, we haven't played anybody because we've had 4 coaches fired, blah, 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 all that nonsense. But, Cash, I still think A&M, we're leading the SEC in sacks for a reason. I like our front 7. Unless Arch turns into both of his uncles combined, I just don't see how they score more points than us.
I agree. I'm on A&M -2.5. I thought that was going to close at 3 though, and it looks like it's hanging strong. In fact, looks like some Texas money is coming in.
I hope everybody bets Texas.
We did this one. We're on to the game. Ohio State, Michigan. What a tough one. Now there might be snow. Like throw another like weird element into this. Kyle, this is you're a Buckeye fan wearing a Washington hat though. As a Buckeye fan, isn't that sacrilegious up there?
Listen, I'm pretty superstitious, and I was thinking about earlier today that I've worn a Buckeyes hat on all the shows I do before Ohio State, Michigan, like the last 3 or 4 years in a row. I'm thinking I'm going to change it up and see if this works out. So if the Buckeyes win this week, I'm not allowed to wear Buckeyes hat on that week going forward. Kyle, there's no chance I'm betting this game. There's absolutely no chance I'm betting this game. I have too much fandom and the Buckeyes, rooting for the Buckeyes to win. I will tell you kind of what I think. I would lean to the under in this game. I think snow is absolutely what Michigan would want, right? I mean, they want to equalize the playing field. So if you're Michigan, you're like, let's bring on some kind of blizzard here because I don't want Ohio State being able to throw it. Ohio State's biggest edge here is passing against the Michigan secondary. Michigan's 89th in pass success rate allowed, 42nd in PPA per pass. Buckeyes definitely have a big advantage there. Now, Smith is banged up. I'm pretty confident he's going to play here, maybe 80% or 85% healthy. Tate, I don't really know what's going to happen with Tate. Definitely helps to have both of those guys out there. I do think Smith, even at 80% health, is better than most wide receivers by far. I trust Ohio State's defense a lot. I think Patricia's done a really good job, better than I would have expected, certainly. Michigan's 25th in PPA margin, Ohio State's first. Michigan's played a little bit tougher schedule. The relative weakness of Ohio State is their run game. So if it turns into just, let's run it on each other, that's exactly what Michigan wants. And Ohio State kind of let that happen last year. I don't think they want to let that happen here, but, the snow looks like it'll be coming in right about 1 o'clock. So in the middle of this game, I think Ohio State's defense being so exceptional in the red zone is probably what will help them win the game. The problem is points, 10 points. It's a lot of points to be laying with a low total against a team that you've had trouble with the last few seasons. I think Caden Curry is a guy to watch to have a really big game here. He's really come on in a big way this year. I honestly do not care at all whether Ohio State covers the spread. I just want the Buckeyes to win. I would bet the under if I had to bet something here.
Jace, what do you think?
I think 10 points is a lot. The history of one of the best rivalries in college football. I think if it snows like it's supposed to, I think it's like 75-80% chance of flurries, whatever. I think that definitely plays into Michigan favor. Not to win, but I wasn't cultured on the history of Ryan Day in that they just can't get over the hump of beating Michigan. Like there was Buckeye fans who were still pissed off that after they won the Natty, they're like, well, we still didn't beat Michigan, so it doesn't matter. Like I didn't realize it was that serious, So I love that mental aspect because I'm all about getting in people's heads. And I know everybody makes fun of the SEC for being weak because we played the non-conference game in week 9, but I don't see the difference between that. And then you got 2 first-round picks. They take PTO, paid time off during their last 3 weeks. Like they haven't even played in a game. They're just coasting through their schedule. So I mean, that just shows you how difficult that schedule is. But I think if Ohio State's not able to pass the ball, I'm loving to see this freshman battle between Sayin and Underwood and who can run the rock better in the snow. And I'm never going to underestimate a Matt Patricia defense by any means, but 10 points, weather, rivalry. I mean, I think Ohio State wins and gets over the Ryan Day beating Michigan hump, but by 10 is a lot with not being able to throw the ball. So give me Michigan.
Yeah, I think Michigan's going to run the ball on Ohio State in this game. I know we all perceive Ohio State to have this elite defense, and they do. On paper, it might be the best defense in the country. But I do have to say, looking at Ohio State's body of work here, Kyle, seriously, if you open up Ohio State, they played Penn State. Outside of that game, where Grunkemeyer, a freshman, was making his second career start in Columbus, what rushing attacks have they seen? Have they seen a single team that could run the ball?
I mean, probably Washington's the best offense they've played other than them. And I mean, Washington, I
Washington's a
think,
passing offense too, though.
yeah, I mean,
I don't think they've
Damon
seen a
Williams
physical
can-
run
But
game
yeah,
like this.
Damon Williams is pretty mobile though. He's
Yeah.
I feel
No,
like
but
he's
I
more of a
mean,
runner.
Michigan, physical downhill run game. In the Big
Oh,
House,
yeah.
like they're playing bully ball. I don't think Ohio State's seen a single offense like that this year.
I agree with you. I mean, I think Ohio State's played a relatively weak schedule in general. They haven't really faced a team that can run it really well. I do think they're a really good run defense, but Michigan can probably run on them some. The question is, do the Buckeyes completely load up the box and just dare Underwood to beat them passing? But you could, I think 10 points is a ton. Yeah.
I'll put Michigan up. To be honest, Kyle, I was kind of thinking. As I said from the beginning, in terms of like, if you're like, yo, Kyle, give me some betting advice here, I would say I have no idea how to really accurately price this game, so I don't really know. But I was kind of thinking of Snover. You know what I was looking at, Kyle? The explosive plays. And if you look at the explosive plays, there should be this score should be 10-7. I mean, Ohio State 128th in explosive play rate, Michigan 4th in explosive play. Both teams elite at not allowing big plays. And both teams haven't created a ton of big plays. They're actually both bottom 10, bottom 15 in the country in explosive plays. And they're both top 5 in explosive play rate allowed. I think we're going to see explosive plays because it's so dramatic and everyone's betting this total down. We know we see these games go over in the snow. We see these weird big plays. And I was kind of thinking a snover here. So I'll say Michigan and over. Final score 24-27. I don't know who wins. But
I do want Ohio State to win for my buddy Kyle, though, just on the record. I do want them to win for Kyle.
I want Ohio State to win also, but I don't really have a dog in the fight. Next up, Miami, Pittsburgh. Jace, what are your thoughts on this ACC battle?
Normally, I would say I think Pitt. Well, first of all, let me eat crow for me bashing Narduzzi last week, saying how they just won't be able to flip a switch and do that, because boy, did they flip a switch, and like that was belt to ass from the kickoff. Like I was rooting for my guy. Haynes King throws the pick 6 to bring it to 7. I was sick. I wanted them to come back so bad. I was really impressed with Pittsburgh. I would think this is an emotional letdown spot. However, there are certain coaches that are excluded from that. Lincoln Riley is one of them where you can bounce back easy. I think Mario Cristobal might be number 1 though, and you got them boys who are in Miami playing in beautiful weather all the time. I mean, they've played in some nasty rain this year, no doubt, but Pittsburgh is not very warm at this time of the year, and 7 points. I think Pitt's live too. I think they could upset and win this right here, especially if Miami comes out slow playing them in the cold. Carson Beck, like what could possibly go wrong? So give me Pitt and the points.
Kyle?
I got an angle I think you guys will both like here as far as the weather. I looked this one up late last night. So Miami virtually never plays games in cold weather. When they do, they haven't done very well. It's hard to get much of a sample size if you put a really low temperature, but I did look this up. 55 degrees or lower, which is hardly cold, but Miami's not used to anything very cold. 55 degrees or colder, Miami is 10-24 against the spread in their last 34 games. A lot of those have been bowl games, and you guys remember how they've done in those bowl games outside when it's 30 some degrees. Just absolute no shows in some of those games. This is a little bit of a different situation, but 34 degrees for this game. I mean, 34 degrees may not be that cold to the average person, but to somebody from Miami, I mean, that probably feels like 0 degrees. So the question is, which do you back here? Do you back the numbers that look like Miami's clearly the better team? I think we all know that Miami is better than Pitt. Do you back the numbers, or do you back the situation that Miami's going up here, 34 degrees, snow's coming in after the game, it looks like. I mean, I know Pitt would love to have it snowing in this game, but probably after the game. I think the data points toward Miami, but I don't trust Cristobal very much either. I mean, his teams have been very inconsistent. I'm not a massive Narduzzi fan either. I mean, Pitt won last week. relatively impressive, but Georgia Tech defensively just completely falling apart. And Haynes King, those turnovers were massive. I mean, they still had a chance until he threw some bad picks there. Miami's 9th in PPA margin, Pitt's 38th. Desmond Reed's status will matter a lot here. He's been hurt a lot this year. He's a really good playmaker for Pitt. I kind of lean to the under here, under a Pitt, and I think this could be a game that Pitt wins outright as well. So you take Pitt. I would want to take some on the money line, but I think under and Pitt are my two that I like here.
Hard disagree. This is a blowout.
Oh,
I think Miami's about to boat race them. I didn't bet it yet. I was waiting for a 6.5.
You got Sid from Ice Age playing quarterback this week for Miami.
So Miami's been very injured. Everybody is back for this game. Their RB1, Mark Fletcher Jr., is back after being injured. One of their main wide receivers, CJ Daniels, is back. He hasn't played in over a month. They're both back on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, their defensive tackle, David Blade Jr., is expected to return after missing 2 games. Their corner, O.J. Frederick Jr., is expected to return after missing 4 games. Their safety, Jacoby Thomas, left last week's game injured. He's fine for practicing in full. He's going to play. So 4 starters pretty much back for this Miami team. And I think there's all right. So yeah, the path to get to the ACC championship game for Miami is basically an unrealistic one. They're not mathematically eliminated, but they need to win and they need like a ton of things to happen. You know what? I'll even bring it up on the screen so you guys could see the path for Miami. 1 second, it's loading. The path for Miami to get to what this game is on Saturday, Miami Pitt. The path for Miami to get here's the path for Miami to get to the ACC championship game here. So they need to win, and then they would need one of these crazy scenarios to happen. So they're most likely not. The point is they're most likely not playing in the ACC championship game. What they're playing for is interesting. Right now, Miami is lower than Notre Dame in the AP polls. If they win, they'll be 10-2, most likely not in the ACC championship game. And there's a chance that Notre Dame gets into the college football playoff over them, even though they beat Notre Dame. So there's something setting up there. And I think Miami will put the exclamation point on this one. So if they do put Notre Dame in over Miami, despite Miami beating them, they're going to have to do it with like a 49-17 win over Pitt in there. I think they really want to put the exclamation point on this one. And this Miami, look, the offense, I'm not in love with the matchup here. Pitt's very strong up front defensively. I don't know if Miami's able to run the ball in this game. I do think Pitt's a little vulnerable to the pass. So I think the table's set where Carson Beck could have a great game. Now, Carson Beck, we've seen him really struggle in a couple of games, but in his last 3 games, he's been essentially perfect. He's played some lesser opponents, but a 139.7 NFL passer rating in his last 3 games. He's been great. So I think Pitt's secondary is vulnerable. Miami has a ton of playmakers getting CJ, the wide receiver, back. Along with their other guys. I think Carson Beck could have a big game throwing the ball. But in reality, the spot I'm looking is on the other side of the ball. This is a nightmare matchup for Pittsburgh offensively. Mason Heichel, he's had bright spots. He's had bright moments. He's had dull moments. He's played a lot of bad defenses. He's a guy who has struggled under pressure this year, and he holds on to the football a lot. Has a tendency to hold on to the football. Miami might have the best pass rush in the country. This is a nightmare matchup. I mean, you look at Pitt's last 5 games. They played Syracuse, NC State, Stanford, Georgia Tech. These are all bad defenses. Notre Dame's the only good defense they saw in there, and they got routed in that game. So I think Pitt's offense is going to look bad in this game. I think Miami's dominating this game on the defensive side. Yeah, it's Miami. I think they might rout them. But I want a 6.5 to actually pull the trigger. Right now, it looks like I can only get a -123 on a 6.5. I want slightly better than that. Next up, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Didn't have a ton of time to look at this one. I was pissed because there was a Vanderbilt plus 3.5, and it looks like that's gone, and I didn't get it. Are you, Jace, you taking Vandy?
I want to, but something in my gut's just telling me, and I hate Tennessee, but I think Diego lays an egg, like the biggest egg you could lay. I think he does it. I I think it's Alabama times 10, what he did. I think someone made a good point. I don't know who it was, if it was SEC Network or somebody made a point, though, about how everybody's talking about if Texas beats A&M, how they deserve to be a 3-win playoff team. But they were like, in actuality, it's if Tennessee beats Vandy this week, they really have the most deserving resume to get in over Texas being a 3-win team. And then I went back and looked at Tennessee's record, and it's like, I kind of have to agree with it. So I think Heupel has them boys ready. I think Diego, who's a dog against as an underdog, so I mean he might prove me wrong, but I think Tennessee. I think they win by like 10.
Wow. I was not expecting that pick. Kyle, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I know it doesn't feel right. I hate saying it because I really don't like Tennessee. I hate Joey. I don't hate. That's a strong word. I don't like Joey Aguilera, however you pronounce his last name. But I think they get it done at home. I think they'll be that crowd's gonna be nuts.
Kyle?
Yeah, I wasn't ready for Jace, the Tennessee guy.
Yeah,
either.
I was not expecting that.
That was a curveball, man.
I know. I had to turn heel.
Wonder if they'll show Pavia's mom any. I mean, I think that's probably fairly likely. I mean, there's got to be like an over-under out there somewhere. That got a little ridiculous last week. I think Tennessee has won 6 straight games in the rivalry. They've won all of them by 13 points or more. This is obviously the best Vanderbilt team we've seen in a long time. It's a chance for Pavia and Vandy to do something really special that they haven't done. These two teams have really similar stat profiles. They look like similar teams as far as margins. Vandy 15th in PPA margin, Tennessee's 13th. Vandy's 7th in points per play margin, Tennessee's 21st. Tennessee's path to winning here is throwing the football against a Vandy secondary that is 112th in PPA per pass. Vandy has a big edge against the passing secondary of Tennessee as well. I mean, Vandy's 15th in QBR, 96th defense there. I see this as, which quarterback's going to step up? Who do we trust, Aguilar or Pavia? I don't know what side to take. I think I would lean Vandy plus the points. I kind of like the over, guys, and I hate that I like the over. I'm gonna call myself out here. I have done really well the last few weeks in college football, and overall now it's been a good season. But I've been wrong on like every single bet I make on Vanderbilt totals. So if I say over, you should probably bet under. So maybe I can help you out by saying if I say over, you go under. Vandy plays really slow. It's tricky to bet their totals because they're snapping the ball with 1 second left consistently, but a lot of explosive plays. Tennessee plays really fast. Pace war type of game. I kind of like the over, but I don't think I'm going to bet this one.
Yeah, I don't know who. I don't know who makes stops. So I'm not even going to spend a ton of time on this one because I really don't feel like I have any sort of angle here. I think both offenses should have no problem scoring points on both defenses. So I guess over. I probably make the game 2.5, so I guess at 3 Vanderbilt, but I'm not even going to waste time talking about it because I really don't know. So let's move on to the last game, which I did bet. Is Auburn winning this, Jace?
You got to take him, right?
I did.
You got to take Auburn. This is DJ Durkin playing for his coaching resume for the rest of his life at Auburn. If they win this, I think he's got to be hired head coach. I really do think they're going to hire Summerall, which I'm happy about. But I think he's going to stay as the defensive coordinator regardless who they bring in as the head coach. I think this would be a huge game. Everything copy and paste like 6 weeks ago when I picked them to beat Georgia and Jordan Hare. I think this is when it gets done because the biggest advantage that Auburn has this week is that Jackson Arnold's not playing again. So I immediately like their chances 10 times more than I did. Bama struggled last week. Granted, they played a nobody, so who knows how locked in they are. I don't think Ty Simpson, Ryan Williams, I don't think they've been the same the past couple of weeks. Who knows? They might prove me wrong, and he throws for 500 yards this week. But I think Auburn has an elite defense. Their offense, they just haven't got any help from their offense this year. And so I like Auburn, and I think I like the under.
Yeah, I agree completely. And Alabama's offense might struggle here. They're not going to be able to run the ball. I shouldn't say because anything could happen. But Auburn's been, on paper, the best run defense in college football this year. Alabama's had problems running the ball. They've been really inconsistent on the ground. And I doubt Alabama's be able to going to be able to consistently run the ball in this game. Also, the Keldrick Falk, that's one of the captains on the Auburn team. He left injured last week. He's completely ready to go. So he's going to play. He's a defensive end, and there was concern that he might not play. I'm reading he's practicing in full. So that's one of the defensive captains there for Auburn. Yeah, it's going to be up to wow, why can't I think of the quarterback's name for Alabama?
Simpson.
It's going to be up to Ty Simpson to make throws. Auburn's been vulnerable to the pass, but they've been so good at home. They're allowing 4.1 yards per play at Jordan-Hare so far this year. That's only their SEC games, too. Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky. They've been elite defensively in this building. Alabama's not going to be able to run. Now, Auburn has been vulnerable to the pass. So maybe Alabama's able to throw the ball, but we're talking 26 degrees, 12 to 15 mile an hour winds, even a chance of snow. You throw some of that. I think Alabama's going to struggle to move the ball. Now, on the other side, Alabama's defense seems to have figured it out. They're really playing some good defense the last few weeks. And Auburn's offensive line is elite. So Alabama had problems stopping the run earlier in the year. Looks like Ashton Daniels is going to start at quarterback for Auburn. Wait, I mean, it's kind of tough to argue that because he started the Vanderbilt game. They scored 38 points, over 6.8 yards per play. He threw for 350 yards, Daniels. So I think Daniels at quarterbacks makes sense. Auburn's going to run the ball, play conservative. Alabama 2-8 against the spread their last 10 trips to this building. They don't cover here often, and I believe the last 3 trips are all by a field goal or less. Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I think Auburn's live. I'd play it 4.5 or better anywhere. What's it at now? You can get a 6, right? Is that still? Yeah, I don't know why it moved against me. I'm on Auburn plus 5.5. I think this is a field goal game. Kyle?
I'm taking the under here. I think the Auburn defense is underrated, at least the run defense. I mean, I think, Kyle, you're right. Auburn's probably the best run defense in the country. They've been tested many times, and somebody's probably going to say, what? I mean, you think they're the best run defense in the country? I mean, they've proven it against really good rushing attacks. They've done it. They've played a tough schedule. And, the fact that their secondary is so weak, it puts quite a bit of pressure on the defensive front. This defensive front is excellent. I mean, they are very, very good. I don't think Alabama's going to run for anything. Really, Alabama hasn't run against anyone. They're 111th in yards per carry. Alabama's 12th in PPA per pass. Auburn's 99th in PPA per pass allowed. Simpson better warm up his arm because he's going to be throwing a lot in this game for sure. But I think the pace will be slow. Alabama's played slower than I expected this year. I thought they might try to run with some tempo with the ball. They've played very slow. Auburn is going to use the clock in this one. They absolutely want to shorten this game. I think they'll run the football a lot. If you have any success against Alabama, it's their run defense that you have to go up against. 56th in PPA per rush. They have been a little bit better, a decent amount better in recent weeks at stopping the run, but Auburn's 28th in rushing explosiveness, 13th in PPA per rush. I think they're about to run the ball like crazy in this one. On the Auburn offensive side, I mean, yeah, Daniels had a really good game there. The week before, they put up 3 points at home against Kentucky. So, I mean, I don't know what we're going to get there. What's the guy's name? Deuce Knight, I think it was.
I think they were trying him out as an experimental thing.
Yeah. Do you think I would assume he'd play at least some in this one and kind of scrambles around, do something a little bit fun. I mean, I would think he'd be the second quarterback rather than Jackson Arnold at least.
I thought one of them had something to do with their red shirt on why they're not playing, so they can retain it, so they can redshirt this year. Yeah, I don't know if it was him though.
Yeah, I don't know how many games he's played thus far. I think that, he looked really good against, Mercer, I think. But, I mean, looking good against Mercer and looking good against Alabama would be completely different things. I think these games at Jordan-Hare have been absolutely ridiculous. I have multiple people who have told me, like, hey, the voodoo at Jordan-Hare is absolutely a real thing. It would not shock me if Auburn wins this game, but I think this is going to be a tight, low-scoring game. I like the under.
Based on how Auburn's season has gone and what happened the 2 times I bet on Auburn, I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn's winning this game 23-17 with 1:10 left, and I somehow don't cover. Like the way they didn't cover my plus 6.5 or whatever it was against who was that against?
A&M,
Oklahoma.
No. Yeah, the Oklahoma game.
With
the safety, I was sick. And then I had him in the Georgia game where it's like that weird play at the goal. I've been Auburn's cursed. This is my first time going back to Auburn since I lost 2 ridiculous bets in a row. So, Kyle, where can they find your stuff?
You can go over to huntersportspicks.com. Free pick newsletter over there. You can find me on the Bet US college football show as well. Spaces on Friday night. Not sure I'll do that this week, but those can be pretty fun. I've been on a good run here in college football. The last 23 totals I've taken are 20 wins and 3 losses. It was a bad start to the season, trying to finish it strong. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and hopefully everybody has a good rest of the week.
Yeah, yep, for sure. And that's his Twitter right there, Kyle Hunter Picks, right on the screen. Chase, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, nothing crazy. And then I guess if it's serious, you can always get my number. We can always FaceTime and just talk football. Whoever wants to do that.
Will you be live tweeting during the A&M Texas game?
Yes, because I will not be. I'm not gonna. I had an early Thanksgiving last week with my family, so I will not be with my family this weekend. So I will be live tweeting and letting my emotions out. And I don't know if it was mentioned, but it's kind of irrelevant because it's only for the first half. But if Anthony Hill doesn't play, like Tyran, whatever his name, Smith, the other Texas linebacker, I don't know if you mentioned that, he's out for the first half because of targeting. So
yeah,
I like that as well.
All right. Have a good night, guys. Yo, we're live now. What's up, everybody? So shout out those of you who are still here watching 1 hour and 56 minutes later. We're going to go some rapid fire college basketball. Toast, Richmond, Furman.
I don't have a bet on this game personally, but we can run through it really quickly. Richmond's one of these teams that hasn't left home yet. This is going to be their first game on the road. Furman, a team that's been there, done that. They played High Point in a neutral to start the year. They played Northern Iowa on the road as well. I definitely lean the points with Furman. Their defense is just so damn bad, but and Richmond is pretty good offensively, but at the same time, these weird ass tournaments and these little gyms, you never really know what could happen. And I have a feeling that there's a reason that Richmond isn't favored by a little bit more, because I mean they have been killing bad teams, but Furman is probably a little bit of a step up in competition to what they've seen before.
So you lean towards Furman plus the 5.
Yeah.
I don't even have Furman graphics in here, so
Shame.
Oh no, yeah I do.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Let's go next game.
You didn't forget about you, Paladins. And can I just say something just really quickly, because it was a topic of conversation. I apologize for not knowing who James Franklin is. Shout out to James Franklin, though. Now I know he was a wide receiver coach in Washington State back in 1998. I'm all read up on my James Franklin. I know who he is.
That guy, if you want to see a really dumb person commenting, go read that thread. Oh my God.
So, I got it. I'm locked in. I am locked in. Let's go, Hokies. Dude, he goes I'm down with the song and everything. Let's go.
So I said, I don't know I can't name any NHL players. And he was like, and I was like, where would I see consume NHL content? Where would I see NHL players? And he goes, oh, I don't know. The sports book. Like, what? What do you think? I'm just scrolling through, memorizing the names for no reason at all? Why would I do that? I don't do it with European soccer either. I don't go remember all the names. What are you talking about, the sports book? You used to spend time on there scrolling through the sports book? Why? Who does that? Crazy. All right, Colorado, San Francisco.
This is a game I did bet here. I bet San Francisco on the money line at minus 115. So I think first and foremost, I love to fade Colorado whenever they're not at home. That's just a Tad Boyle special for me. But I think that San Francisco is a far much better team. 67th on KenPom, 86th for Colorado. But I think the huge difference here is defensively. I will give you that Colorado is probably a little bit better offensively, but defensively, they are just completely head and shoulders worse than San Francisco. It doesn't really matter what metric you look at it in, or what site you use, whether it be KenPom or College Basketball Analytics or Evan Mia. It's all the same thing. So Colorado, yes, they can score the basketball, but I think that San Francisco is going to slow this game down a little bit. This game's in California, so it's in San Francisco's backyard. Colorado doesn't really San Francisco has an issue turning the ball over, but like I said, that Colorado defense is so bad they don't force any turnovers. So I think that makes up for anything that Colorado's going to be able to throw at them. So yeah, I already bet San Francisco on the money line.
The Dons?
I love me some Dons.
Is this a tournament game?
It's I think so. I don't know if it's a neutral. I don't know if it's actually a tournament game. I can tell you in a second. No, it's just a straight game on a neutral.
Oregon Creighton.
Man, this one, I clicked on this game. You can put the over up for me. I didn't bet it because I wanted to see what the line did. But I can't. I don't know if I can pull the trigger. But both these teams, I know that Creighton really kind of plays slow, but I just don't really think that either one of these teams defensively is that great. I think that probably Oregon can start to continue to play better a little bit, but at the same time, I think I tried to trust this Creighton team earlier in the season, but I just really can't get there. I guess their defense is a little bit better than their offense, you could say. But like I said, neither one of these teams defensively is really good. And I know that Creighton has kind of ran at a slower pace, but it's Thanksgiving. I don't really think that these guys are going to be honing down on defense in this type of game. So personally, I lean over. But again, I don't know if I can actually get there.
Next up.
It's really hard to pick a side in that game too.
TCU.
This is the one.
What, you like this one?
I haven't bet it yet, but I think this is a lot better game. I really want to bet TCU here. So I don't know what to think of Michigan. I think they're obviously a very good basketball team. This isn't like the Gonzaga me being pissed off, the overhit. I'm all good. I'll lose my Gonzaga money. It's all good. But I think they're one of those teams that's kind of, I don't want to say like Alabama, but I do think that when they're high, they're going to be very, very high, and their lows can look very low. And we've seen that early from them. But my point to that is that this TCU team played them and lost to them by 3 at home. And now they're going to take on a Florida team that's very, very similar to those guys on a neutral. And you're getting 13.5 points, and you might even get more in the morning. I think that TCU is more than well equipped to handle this Florida team. I mean, let's keep in mind that Florida was able to win last year because why? They had multiple guys, but one guy in particular that could shoot 3 all night long. They're terrible shooting the 3 ball this year. Will it continue to get better? Probably. I will give you that. But so far, it hasn't looked very good. And now you're going to be asking them to go from home. I know they have played a couple of neutral games as well, but now they're going to go all the way across the country into California. Like, I have a hard time believing they just start raining 3s on that. And if that's the case, I think that TCU can stay in this game. They run at a fast pace, just like Florida. The size matters. I truly believe that, especially in college basketball. And Florida has a huge size advantage. Part of the reason why we're getting a whole bunch of points. But like I just said, TCU just played with Michigan, and Michigan is huge as well. And the last thing I love as well is that, I love my free throws. Florida can't shoot free throws. TCU can. So I'm going to wait on this game, but I will be on TCU. I just don't know what the number is.
Trying to get a better number tomorrow.
Trying. We'll see. We'll see in the next hour. I got nothing else.
If you think TCU's the side, you might get a worse number.
Well, we'll see.
Tar Heels Sparty?
This is a good one. This is a really good one.
I have I have watched a full North Carolina basketball game in its entirety. Watched every minute.
Your thoughts? Easy cover.
So I'd say athleticism, size, talent, sloppy was my takeaway. Sloppy with the basketball.
Yeah, that could come into play here. Their numbers, as far as turning over, aren't they really that bad? But I wouldn't necessarily
say turnovers, just like out of position, and like the guy would like beat a guy off the dribble and then get to the elbow, and then like he didn't know what to do with it. It was like he forgot the rest of the play, or like somebody missed their assignment somewhere. It was just like broken offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't look smooth.
Yeah, they're my point to that was I don't know how much of a step up in class this Michigan State defense is. I know that they're very good. Not trying to make a case that they're not, but North Carolina has already seen this a Kansas team that is starting to look really, really good, even without Peterson in the lineup. And they're a top 10 defense when they faced them. I mean, Navy is a 135 in Ken Palm. State Bonnie's 144. It's not like they're playing complete sieves on defense. So, yes, the Michigan State defense is one of the better ones that they've seen. But I don't think it's like this huge step up in class. So, I agree with you that I think that that it's really hard to trust North Carolina. It doesn't look pretty at times. Caleb Wilson is an absolute baller. I will give him that. That freshman. I mean, but again, do I really want to trust a freshman against Tom Izzo? So you can put Sparty up for me, but I will say at the same time, if Sparty takes a whole bunch of money and I get Michigan or North Carolina plus 3.5 or 4, I'm probably going to fire on the Tar Heels. So my initial lean was Michigan, but the more and more I look, or I'm sorry, Sparty, but the more and more I look at it, I think I might want to play Michigan or North Carolina.
The way to go here is under. Michigan State can't shoot. North Carolina's big, athletic. Michigan State physical, able to keep them get the buckets at the rim. Ways to go is under.
Yeah, I can see that. And if Michigan State is playing the way that they want to, this is going to be slow. That's for sure. Yeah.
Next up, UNLV Rutgers.
Yeah, this is a fun one. So you can put down you can put up UNLV for me. I think I'm going to bet them at the 2.5. I know threes are starting to pop up now. I still believe in this UNLV team. I think they have a lot of growing to do. But at the same time, I mean, I don't think that they've played a pretty decent schedule here. I mean, again, UT Martin, whatever you want to talk about it. But I mean, obviously the Montana game wasn't spectacular, but like I talked about, Montana went and played Texas A&M extremely close in Texas A&M. So again, they lost that game. I'm not trying to say that they should have won that game, but regardless, Montana, that doesn't look as bad. They played Memphis, and then they just got done playing Maryland and Alabama. And not to like shit on Rutgers or anything like that, but they played a Tennessee team that's pretty decent, and Notre Dame, I mean, that doesn't even sniff to the competition that UNLV's played the last couple of nights. I mean, I guess Maryland, you can debate Maryland and Notre Dame, I guess, so it's really not that bad. But regardless, I think that coming off that Alabama game, I think UNLV will be ready. Not to mention the fact that this Rutgers team, they just look terrible. Like I really thought that the American game would kind of wake them up. They won that American game 80-71. I bet Central Connecticut the next game plus like 17 or something like that. They lost that outright, and then they fly out to Las Vegas. They get throttled by Tennessee, and I mean, that Notre Dame game, I mean, they were really never in the game. Notre Dame was up pretty big early, and they kind of coasted their way through it. So they ended up only winning by 5, but it really, that schedule is that score is really deciphering. So I really want to bet UNLV. I don't know if I can actually pull the trigger, but it would only be UNLV for me.
All right. UNLV. Next up, Providence, Wisconsin.
This is a hard one for me. I just don't know what to think of this Wisconsin team right now. I feel like I know what I'm getting out of Providence. I'm getting a team that usually you're getting a team that can play defense and kind of struggles offensively, but they've been okay offensively so far. My question more, I guess, would be is with Wisconsin, and because I don't know is BYU a really good team? Yeah, and that game was obviously in BYU's backyard, so I don't really put a lot into that. And they haven't played anybody above this, and Providence has went on a neutral and played Virginia Tech. They played Colorado in Colorado. They lost that game. They lost both those games, obviously. But in Wisconsin's going to be a step up in class, no question. But I do think that Providence can match Wisconsin offensively. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I mean, all the metrics tell me the same thing. I mean, Jason Edwards and Jalen Sellers have been really, really good for this basketball team. And I mean, Nick Boyd and John Blackball have been getting theirs for Wisconsin too. So it's either Providence or the over for me. But because both these teams actually play at a pretty good pace, but Providence doesn't really shoot the 3 ball well. I just don't really know what to think with both these teams coming all the way out to California in an early game. So, Providence are over.
Next up.
That was a TV Jones game for sure, just for the record.
Oh, is this a TV Jones game?
No, this one's not. I've actually already bet this game as well. I'm on Santa Clara here. I'm just going to keep on riding the wave with the Broncos. St. Louis has actually been pretty good this year. I will give them credit because they have played absolutely nobody. Strength of schedule at 360, which tells you that they've played absolutely nobody. Not that Santa Clara is playing absolute juggernauts, but they did play McNeese, Xavier, Nevada. All those teams essentially in the top 100 or better. I think Nevada is just outside of it. But regardless, they've been tested at home. Only one road game that was obviously Xavier, but they did travel. Not to mention the fact that this game is going to be in California, so it's going to be really in Santa Clara's backyard, and St. Louis is going to have to travel. But for me, I think Santa Clara has the advantage in pretty much every part of this game. I know that St. Louis offensively looks decent and their ratings are good, but like I said, they've played nobody, and Santa Clara stacks up really well with them. And I really think that if you slow St. Louis down, St. Louis hasn't had a team that's able to slow them down like Santa Clara is going to tomorrow, and I think that's really going to screw them up, especially on a neutral all the way out in California. So I've already bet Santa Clara plus 2.5. It's starting to go down a little bit, but yeah, I'm going to bet them on the money line as well.
Next up, three more games. Georgetown, Dayton.
This is going to be a quick one for me. It'd be Georgetown or pass. I looked into this game for like 15 minutes, especially when Sauce went to the college basketball or football one. I think that Georgetown is good, but they're one of those teams that really hasn't played anybody. They played Clemson and Maryland, so give that. I don't think Maryland's really good and Clemson is and then Dayton's only played Marquette really and Cincinnati. Both those teams are for me are meh. So I think that these teams are kind of even if I'm being dead honest with you guys, but I think that I think Georgetown's just a better basketball team in general. So it would be Georgetown for me, but again, I wish it was those other guys were here to talk about that one.
Arkansas, Duke.
You guys know what it is. ATM minus 9.5. I think the Duke's the best team in the country, regardless of what KenPom says, regardless of what Michigan is doing. I personally think that Michigan is the best team in the country. So they've been an absolute.
You said Michigan.
I'm sorry, Duke. Sorry. Duke is the best team in the country, and I don't even think it's really close right now. Again, that's just my personal opinion. Purdue is a very, very good basketball team, but I think that if there's one team that could slow down Michigan, if that's the new UConn, I guess, it would be this Duke team. But regardless, Arkansas played pretty decent against Michigan State. I will give them that was a really back in the fourth game, but I think that Duke presents a lot more challenges than them. Not to mention the fact that Duke is one of those teams that with Boozer, I don't know who's going to stop him for Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas isn't like some tiny basketball team, but I mean, I don't know if they're going to put Brazil on him or what, but I think that a lot of these other guys are going to eat, like Caleb Foster, Isaiah Evans. I just don't see how Arkansas can slow Duke down. And I also think that Arkansas is going to send Duke to the line a lot because Duke just absolutely grinds you down getting to the line. And I just think that Shire is just going to outclass Calipari in this game. So, yeah, I've already bet Duke minus 9.5.
Last game up, Oklahoma State, Northwestern.
This was a TV Jones special if I've ever seen one. For me, it would only be Northwestern here. I do think they're the better basketball team, but do I really want to lay points with them versus Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State has looked pretty good. Again, one of those teams that really hasn't played anybody, but not that Northwestern has. But they did play New Virginia, DePaul. Oklahoma State played South Florida and Texas A&M, but I think offensively Northwestern is significantly better, and they're pretty much even on defense. So again, it would only be Northwestern for me, but I really can't bet it. Also, Oklahoma turns the ball over a lot. Northwestern doesn't. So again,
everyone enjoy your night. I got an NFL video coming where I break down the games with the graphics and everything like I normally do. It's done. I just didn't get it up in time before. It'll probably be up in like 15 minutes. So that'll be up. I also have a Memphis Navy video coming up as well. Everyone, thanks for watching. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. We'll be